Welcome in. Hope you are well here on a Wednesday. A Wednesday. It's Wednesday.
Why is that so shocking to you?
Dude, because to be honest with y'all, man, I had a horrible day today. I'm supposed to go to a dinner tonight. I don't want to drive my car to go to dinner. I don't want to go. I don't want to.
Chauffeured.
Maybe
fancy.
get an Uber or something.
No, a limo.
DoorDash. I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm scared. I swear to you, everything that could go wrong for me today so far has. So it's just like, I can't wait to get on the radio. Right? I mean, what's the worst I could do on the radio for 3 hours? I guess I could swear that would really end my career.
Bad, yeah.
That would end my career and really sum up my day. But no, I'm not going to do that. Lots going up on today. Guest-free show coming up today. There is an outside chance we may run down Brandon Cruz, a sports anchor for Fox 6. I reached out to him earlier today in Milwaukee. The reason I reached out to him earlier today in Milwaukee is because the Brewers cut a deal with a bunch of local TV stations around the state of Wisconsin that are going to have Brewers games on those channels. You know what's funny about that to me?
What's that?
I brought this very notion up to Rick Schlesinger previously when the Bucks were doing it, and he shot me down immediately when I had brought that up previously. And now this is year 2 of them being on over-the-air TV. So, yeah, a handful of games, select games throughout the season will be on over-the-air TV. I, for one, am very excited. I would love to see an over-the-air TV station pick up the whole slate. Obviously, that's not going to happen. They're going to be on MLB TV, Brewers TV, whatever. We still don't have a channel for that as of updated today by Rick Schlesinger. We'll get into more of that when we talk about the crew coming up at 3 o'clock. But we're going to talk about the World Baseball Classic for sure. We are going to talk and lead off things talking about the Bucks. We got some Badgers conversation coming up in the 3 o'clock hour as well. And a golf topic at 2:40 for you people that get out and golf on the weekends or golf during the week. I saw something on social media involving going out to the golf course and golfing with people that you don't know. And I want to bring it up to all of you. We'll do that at 2:40 because I've never done it. I've done a lot of things, but I've never done what they're talking about. And I know one person that does it like every time he golfs. So we'll bring that and talk about that coming up at 2:40. Got to start off with the Bucks. I've done my best to avoid them. I have. And the open of the show says we talk Brewers, Bucks, Packers every day. And it's been a lie for the last few days because I'm just mad at them. I'm sick of watching them. I've had my fill of them. And I'm an emotional person, as you well know, and I've just had my fill. Now, yesterday's show, I said, I'm not watching them. I'm watching the World Baseball Classic. And I held true to my word. I didn't turn it on. I watched the World Baseball Classic, even though it was a snooze fest for most of the game for USA. And we'll get more into that in the next segment. But as I'm sitting there and I'm watching the highlights come up and I'm watching Jang do his thing and so forth, I'm like, man, all right, playing pretty good. We're going to talk more about the Bucks without Giannis and how they play tomorrow. But the story is Giannis and that hyperextended knee. Now, previously, we talked about the hyperextended knee, and it happens in the playoffs, and it happened in the championship run. And I remember doing a post-game show going, oh, my God. Like, that looked horrific. He may be gone all of next year. Like, they're so screwed. They're going to waste this opportunity. And then it ended up just being a hyperextension. Didn't tear his knee up. Nothing too important. They're able to survive that series against Atlanta and then get themselves into the finals to where Giannis comes back and, drops a 50-piece at the end to get the NBA championship from Milwaukee. So the initial explanation for the Bucks has been it's going to be about a week. And Giannis wants to come back and wants to play. Question is this. Should Giannis shut it down for the betterment of this organization? Should he shut it down? Should he be done? Just go to Greece early. Go back home. Go be the king. Go do your thing in Greece. And we're good. We'll see you in the summer. Talk about trade, whatever. If not, then if you're good, then we'll see when you sign your Supermax in October, and we'll roll. But for now, the rest of the season, we're done. Should Giannis shut it down for the betterment of this organization. Nikolai Lautaka text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the socials at WI Sports Radio. So last night I am watching the World Baseball Classic. And as I'm watching the World Baseball Classic, I have my phone up and I'm looking at my phone. And a person that I normally never kind of tweet back and forth with starts tweeting at me. Why did that person start tweeting at me? Because I quote tweeted Shams Charania, who said Giannis being diagnosed left knee hyperextension, bone bruise, will be reevaluated in a week, right? And I quote tweeted, I put shut him down, #Bucks. And this guy, Tim, said he makes $50 million a year to play basketball. It's his job. Wish someone would tell me not to work and I would still get paid. Now, I did not respond to Tim with my real response to this, which was, I could not sit home and not work. Just not going to be a thing. Not ever going to be a thing. I'm doing something because sitting home drives me nuts. Hate it, hate it, hate it. Don't want to be at home. I'd rather be out doing something. My family, I think it may drive them nuts at times because most people love staying at home and doing nothing. I hate it. I want to be doing something. So anyway, so he says that to me. Okay. So I replied, sure. But the future of the organization is far bigger than meaningless basketball the rest of the way. To which Tim responds back on social media to me on X, the future of the organization needs new management. Bucks should have easily made the playoffs. Looks like they're tanking games on purpose the last couple of weeks. Doc Rivers is a terrible coach. Why does he still have a job? I responded back, Charlie. He has a job because winning isn't needed or necessary at this point. They have a chance of getting a good player in this year's draft. Could have been better had they not gotten hot in February. Tim responds. I did not respond after this, so don't worry. I'm not going to continue reading tweets. Tim then says, really? An NBA draft pick is going to put this franchise over the top? That rarely, if ever, works out. They have good talent on the team right now and should be winning. We don't need a draft pick. We need a good coach. I was going to tweet back, but it was distracting me from watching what I was watching. And I was like, I'm done. I don't want to go back and forth all night. But let me respond to you, Tim, if you are listening to that. They don't have good talent. What players on this roster would be in a starting five on a championship caliber team right now outside of Giannis? The only one that you potentially could say is Miles Turner if somebody believes he would be better with a better surrounding cast. To how he played this year, wouldn't start for me on a championship lineup. My own personal opinion, wouldn't start for me. But I could see some other GM like, oh, I could use him and what he does. Saw how they use him in Indiana. Okay, fine. I could justify that. The rest of these guys, Porter would be a bench guy. Rollins would be a bench guy. And I do not care what Ryan Rollins has done for the last several games. Nathan Marzian, big on X, used to do Green and Growing podcast with me, loves Ryan Rollins, just loves Ryan Rollins, tweeting out all of Ryan Rollins' numbers in the last several games. I just shake my head. That's nice. But more than likely, Rollins would be sitting there as a seventh player probably in a lineup or in a rotation for a team that's championship caliber, which is good. I'm not saying he'd be on the bench not playing. He'd play on a championship caliber team. He just probably wouldn't be in the starting lineup, okay? They don't have the horses. Bobby Portis would be a bench guy on a championship caliber team. He would, which is, again, they don't have horrible players, but they don't have championship players. They don't have enough championship players. They got one guy. That's what they've got right now. Now, do I think Doc's done a great job coaching? No, I don't. I don't disagree with any of you on the Doc hatred one way or the other. But the draft pick and how this plays is simple. If Giannis comes back, you have a potential to get somebody that's not going to cost you a ton of money that potentially could be a big, big asset to put next to Giannis for next season to convince him to stay. And then you have to find another player through trade or whatever to put with Giannis. If Giannis says, I'm out and you got to go, now at least you have the starting of a building block, hopefully, if the guy pans out, to start to build this organization around going forward. Yeah, you'd stink next year, but at least you'd have your first building block to get this to go in the right direction. And that's why when they had that hot February and we're playing to get into the playoffs for Giannis, instead of trading this whole roster away for a bunch of twos or whatever they can get for him, This absolutely screwed you because now you're not good enough to be in the play-in, but you're the first team not in the play-in in the East, which means your draft pick isn't nearly as good as it could have been had you started this whole process at the beginning of February, like Utah and a lot of these other teams decided to do. But no, we got to go half in, half out to try and make Giannis happy. That is why now, after this whole thing has went down, I'm not trying to rush Giannis back at this point to see him potentially tear up his knee or something. And then what? Then he's not getting traded. He's not playing for you next year. And then the player option is up and he's out. Now, there is a scenario to which he ruins his knee, doesn't play next year, and then says, you know what? I'm going to sign the Supermax after all, Milwaukee, because I'm not sure where my value necessarily will be coming off of that ruined knee next summer. So I will sign it, and you'll get at least one more healthy season out of me when I come back. And then maybe I'll ask for a trade at that point. Who knows? I don't know. But there is no positivity that comes out of him coming back. You're not making the play-in. You're too many games out of this. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's done. The rest of this year should be finding out, how does Jang look every night? Get him 15 shots every night. Let's see how he progresses. And any other young player that you think you could help build around Giannis going forward, those guys should be getting all the time in the world at this point, Charlie. So the question is, should Giannis shut it down for the betterment of the team? Nikolai Law, talking text line, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Let's go to Ryan in Burlington. You're first up on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, Sparky. Hey, so we've been together on the Bucks back when we used to talk about drafting and stashing Ersan.
Right.
And that was fun because we were waiting for the championship. We wanted to grow a team. And I honestly, I just got Giannis fatigue. Hearing you, I'm going to give you a second to let your heart slow down a little bit. But I am just got Giannis fatigue. If we can't identify, first and foremost, he is breaking down. And if we can't identify that, this is the time to get out, even though I'm usually not a proponent of shipping out all-stars or starting over when you got a superstar. But if we can identify that he is absolutely breaking down,
yep,
that should be the first thing. Second, if Giannis says, sit me, it's over, because I would never want a player to come out and say that. So I don't think he's going to say that. But nope. I think the Bucks have to be smart enough, like I said months ago, that this ship is a failing ship. We should have traded Miles Turner at the deadline. We should have traded Bobby at the deadline. The only three players that should be left on this roster going the next year are KPJ, Ryan Rollins, and Deng. That's the only three that have youth and have potential if you got the right pieces around them and they grew a little bit more than they are now. We have got to start over. If Giannis sits the rest of the year, which they should sit him, and we should be done, we get the highest draft pick. We try to ship him out for the best deal we can with multiple ones, maybe a young player. I love Atlanta. If we could do Atlanta and get Jalen in that deal. It's time. He is breaking down. Even if he comes back, we're talking about if he comes back, he could blow his knee out. Everything says his Achilles, his calf, his knee, something's going to go. It's the car that you're watching drive with the wobbly tire, being like, dude, why are you driving on that? Why would we put that car back out there, park it for the year, get rid of him in the off season, and start building? And you know what? If we got to go 2 or 3 seasons, Sparky, talking about who we're drafting and who we're stashing, again, like we did 15 plus years ago, then so be it. We had a good run, but we got to change it. We have no chance to make the plan. That's a joke. This should be over.
That's correct. It is a joke. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. This is the thing that you're trading, essentially, if you decide to go that route, your best player in franchise history. You're trading a superstar. You're doing all of this stuff. There is no guarantee that you will ever, ever, ever reach this mountaintop again for the rest of our lives. There's absolutely no guarantee. There is probably a better chance that this organization falls back into the deep black hole that they were in prior to Giannis. And probably an even better chance that the rest of this ownership group is going to bail and Jimmy Haslam is going to run this sinking ship for a long time. And it's going to be his way. We've seen how that's worked out for the Browns. That is not a positive sign either, right? If and when this is over with Giannis, would I be surprised if Wes Eden said, I'm out? Nope. I would not be surprised. Lazary has left. Fagan has left. it would make sense that Edens and Facitelli and these other guys all went back to New York too and said, it was real. We won a championship. I'll never forget it. Had the time of my life. Bucks fans were great to us. Deer District, 60,000 people, blah, blah, blah. But that was good. We're out. And somebody else, whether it be Haslam or somebody else, buys the other part of this share, and somebody else tries to come in and run this thing. And then once the Pfizer Forum deal is up, are they here or are they gone? No idea. Couldn't tell you. But if you decide to make that move, you have to think of all of that before you do that. And that is why this organization does not want to do that under any circumstances. They will bend over backwards to do whatever Giannis wants them to do. They do not care because they know once that is gone, once Giannis is gone, they're screwed and screwed for a long time. And you can listen to whoever you want to listen to inside that organization and try and sell you that they're not. They are. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. They're going to be screwed. And that's why when you have one of the best drafts that we've seen in God knows how long with star players up and down it, especially early on, like it was a top 3. Now it's like a top 5 for sure. And you jacked all that up trying to win, trying to make the playoffs. Yes. See, again, this is why I don't want to talk about them. I just get mad. Just get angry and mad because they screwed this whole thing up. It was almost like Herb Cole was running the team again. You just absolutely screwed it all up. I almost just swore. It almost just happened. And it would have been on the Bucks too. Should Giannis shut it down for the betterment of the team? Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250 from the 414. Sparky, one word to describe the Bucks equals fear. The ownership and Horst are so afraid of life when Giannis is no longer here that they continue to allow him to be GM. Time to rebuild and move on. Kicking the can doesn't make it go away.
So this is 4 minutes ago from Shams Charania.
Oh.
The Milwaukee Bucks want Giannis Antetokounmpo to shut down for the remainder of the season after his latest injury, and the team's playoff chances dwindle.
God.
But Antetokounmpo has refused the team's requests and wants to play again, sources tell ESPN.
So, good job, Bucks. Could have done this after the last injury. Either way, this is the thing. I like saying this is the thing. They can't do anything. Because if he deems himself healthy and wants to play, they don't let him, then the Players Association is going to get involved. Then things are going to get really, really ugly. And now, by publicly making it shut it down, now Giannis can say, I don't want to play for an organization that doesn't want me to play for them, right? Maybe the Bucks are ready to move on. They told me they don't want me to play coming back from an injury. So now Giannis and his agents can spin this bad boy on the Bucks if they so choose. And as I've said before, and I'll say again, everybody is pretty certain at this point, nobody knows for sure, only Charania does, that his source this whole time has been Giannis's agents pushing a narrative. So it wouldn't be surprising if those same dudes now are running this out there to say, oh my God, they want to shut down Giannis. The thing is that this entire fan base is for it. Go ahead, do it. Every general manager in the NBA is going, yeah, that's the right move. That's what they should do. They should have shut him down off the last injury. Should have let him come back then.
Couldn't that possibly be the Bucks releasing that information before Giannis can, though?
Nope. Doesn't make the Bucks look good nationally.
I mean, but if everybody's on the same page with the Milwaukee Bucks and they understand that and they feel comfortable that everybody's on the same page, they wouldn't do that at all.
I don't see the benefit of it because then, well, I don't know.
Well, it gets Giannis to stop putting them in the hot seat because that's constantly what it's been this entire past year and a half is Giannis just putting the pressure, passing the buck to the Milwaukee Bucks. This could be the Bucks saying, we're done with that. Giannis, we're passing the buck to you, man.
Shams says there's been multiple meetings over Giannis's status in the last 24 hours. Multiple meetings. I don't need multiple meetings. I didn't want him coming back from the last damn injury. I wanted this done.
We're going to get reports of him like storming out of one of these meetings now and stuff too. It's going to be a lot of drama, feels like, coming up with this.
Right. And then this is potentially how this ends over this. That is the calculated risk that you make. And I'm sure in these meetings, they're like, okay, guys, if we shut him down and he throws a hissy fit and his agents throw a hissy fit, we could essentially end this over this. Are we sure we want to attempt to do this. Yes or no? Why don't we sleep on it? Okay. Come back this morning. What do y'all think? Yeah, we got to do it. You're sure? Yeah, we got to do it. Okay. And here we are. And he's going to play if he wants to play. They're not going to be able to change it. It's not going to happen. Heisey in Kenosha, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What's up, Heisey?
Hey, Sparky, long time no see.
Long time no see. Old time guy, played fantasy football with him for years and years and years. What's up, buddy?
I think they need to trade him off before the draft, get some more picks, and possibly put together 3 very good players. Otherwise, he's got to change the way he plays. He can't play like that.
Play like what? As physical as he plays?
All this driving to the hoop constantly, no dishing. He's got to pass more.
Yes. And that is going to be something we're going to get into tomorrow. As far as the energy on the floor, with Giannis on the floor versus without Giannis on the floor, like they were in that situation last night. Because this definitely feels like 2 different teams, with Giannis and without Giannis right now. Hope all is well, Mr. Heisey. Take care of yourself. There goes Mr. Heisey in K-Town. Yeah. Lots of good times throwing down some beverages with that dude. Lots and lots of fun. Let's go to Ram on the north side of Milwaukee. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, Ram?
Hey, Sparky. Thanks for taking on. Thanks, sure. Charlie. I don't understand why he's back. And I'm going to tell you this. That one of the turning points I see in most recent months is when Junior Brisbane passed.
Yep.
I think he was about to put the ship right. And I'm with you on this. John Horst needs to go. I'm sorry.
Why would you want to be here? But wait, hold on. Time out. Stop. First of all, according to reports, the Pistons tried to get him from the Bucks, and the Bucks blocked him, if we remember correctly, a couple years ago, right? So they block him. So now John is here at this point. If you're John Horst, now think about this. You won a championship with Giannis, with his Bucks team. You made the move to get Holiday. You made the move to get Lillard. Then you made the move to get Miles Turner. You decided to move on from Chris Middleton. You hired Bud and went through all of that and all of that. Now, you go through all of that. Now, hold on a second. Are you telling me, Ram, that if you're John Horst, you want to start from ground zero with nobody and potentially try to build this back up? Or would you rather get out while you can, not have the future on your resume, and go explore other opportunities? Because I would imagine option 2 is far more appealing than option 1.
Okay, let's just to walk this back a little bit. First of all, John Hammond found Giannis, not John Horst.
No, John Horst was
okay. Now,
Hammond. I said
John
Bud.
Horst
I meant Bud. Sorry.
John Horst wasn't even in the office.
Yes, he was.
Today.
Yes, he was
doing contracts. So
Hammond was doing. Horst was doing video.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, when we talk about selecting basketball talent, I believe people been in his ear. It's just me saying, and from some of my sources. Now,
no. Hold on, Rand. Let's talk about this. Hold on. Let's talk about this. I've said over and over again, and Charlie will back me up, that you're right. It's not been John Horst by himself. You've had Horst, Edens, and Fagan, Team Bucks. Those 3 gentlemen were the ones running this ship the entire time. So yes, there's more than John involved, no doubt. But you're saying they need to get rid of John, and I'm saying if I'm John, I'm like, cool, I'm out. I don't want to be a part of this next fiasco that's about to happen in Milwaukee. Feel free to fire me. I'm more than happy to go work at another organization that's got a chance to win in the next 10 years. If I'm John, I'm cool with that, Ram. I'm like, hey, listen to Ram, go ahead and get rid of me, because whoever comes in here is set up for failure.
Well, I think it's too. Like, I think certain GMs got certain respect in the NBA that can make deals happen, and it's the younger ones don't have that type of cash assets in their cachet. He's just not one of them right now. I just don't see that. I don't see that. He can't pick up the phone and say, I want to make this happen, make that. He hasn't shown that.
Are you kidding me? He got Holiday. He got Lillard.
I think somebody was in his ear.
Signed Miles Turner.
No, I think somebody was in his ear. Miles Turner, maybe. Holiday, no. But remember, when Yuri was available with Toronto after they won the championship, he was looking coming this way. He was. Now, I don't know why they didn't make the move to do that, because you got to get somebody with experience with players and no player. And most of these GMs are either former players or they long-time assistant coaches and they know players. I just don't see John having that, Sparky. And then the last thing I say is this. We said this the other day. a rookie that's coming out of this year's draft is not going to help the Bucs next season. It has to be a rookie and maybe 2 mid-level NBA players. If you're talking about getting out the first round, because we haven't got out the first round since we won a championship, right?
Yep.
So going forward, I agree with everything that you're saying about that and with the whole Giannis piece. But you remember what he said the year after they got put on the first round? He said he's going to sit back and see what they do in the front office. I think he's been sitting back watching and seeing. He's kind of like, I want to play. But I agree with the last caller. Last thing is that he can't keep trying to run people over. He don't have it no more. He got to start playing on the wing and in the post if he want to extend his career.
All right, Ram. I appreciate it. Thanks for the call. Yeah, I mean, Giannis said a while back that this all started for him before the championship year. I think it was the COVID year is when he decided he wanted to start seeing what else was out there, seeing how much they really cared and wanted to do this. So he's been playing this. I don't know if I want to come back or if I do want to come back, or his agents are playing the game. He claims that's not the case. So whatever is happening with Team Giannis, this all started in 2020. This isn't something that just started this year or last year. Bucs ownership has been dealing with this scenario with him and his team for several years now. So that's kind of what this is going forward. And like I just told Ram, with all due respect, there are only so many GM jobs in the NBA. Somebody will gladly take the rebuild with the idea of there's no pressure. Nobody's going to expect me to win. I can do hopefully some of the things that I want to do without anybody interfering because, again, no expectations, nobody having to try and keep happy at that point on this roster if Giannis is gone. So I'm sure there will be a guy that's never been a GM that would probably like to get their feet wet. From a coaching perspective, they're not going to hire a proven guy to coach a bunch of young guys. They're going to go hire a guy that's never coached in the NBA. Now, maybe that guy is Tom Crean for his first NBA head coaching gig and essentially treat it like a glorified college team and let them grow together over the course of time and trust that Crean can make it work. So maybe that's the avenue you go, but they're surely not going to pay $10, $15 million a year for a guy like Doc Rivers to coach a team that has no chance.
No, there's absolutely no reason to. When you look at what the Oklahoma City Thunder were able to do since they brought in Sam Presti and turn that around is with coaches that you don't really know, be able to find ways with stars, without stars to stay competitive. I think it's more important to find a guy, and I agree. I think John Horst, if I'm him, I'm done. If Giannis is done, I'm done with this team. I need to find something else to do. It's easy. I think it would be better for the Bucs to try to find a GM who's been around or maybe a coach that's looking to get into that GM role that's been able to develop that talent, kind of like the Celtics did with transitioning Brad Stevens to that front office role. I think you can do that same kind of thing and hopefully find a coach that wants to do that and then get a head coach that's really cheap that just wants a shot.
Yeah, give Rondo his first job or sell his first job, whatever.
A college coach, something else.
Right. Got another one here from the 715. Dan in the 715. Can you please talk about anything else than the Bucs? It's nauseating. Yeah, I've been avoiding it for how many shows? Like, we have not talked about them at all. I agree with you. We'll move on right now. We'll go to the World Baseball Classic. Lots to digest on what happened there last night, but how much of it had to do with the actual mental side, the brain part of what happened last night? We'll dive into that straight ahead. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Don't forget, tomorrow we are at the Annex, broadcasting our shows from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. The Annex located right next door to the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Come hang out with us. They have kiosks. I was just there earlier today and posted a video at Sparky Radio. They have kiosks all along the one wall. They have TVs on all the other walls, 3 gigantic big screens with a bunch of other TVs. They got couches and tables with chairs and all kinds of stuff. They're going to have a bar set up inside the Annex as well for everybody. So come hang out. Check out all the shows. John Kuhn and Rami will be there doing their show. Mitch Thunder Nellis will be there doing the Mason Crosby show. I'll be there with Wisconsin Sports Daily as well. So make plans. Come hang out with us at the Annex tomorrow right next to the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Potawatomi, bet above the rest. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen, hanging out with you. We'll talk about the crew coming up at 3 o'clock. Rick Schlesinger with some details today on the additions coming to American Family Field. And we'll talk about the TV deal as well that they've got multiple TV deals to talk about. We'll get into all of that coming up at 3 o'clock. Talk some Badgers coming up at 3:20. But first, we're going to talk about the World Baseball Classic. So from a Brewers perspective, this dude here.
On 1-0. Grounds one, right side and through. And there is the first base runner for Team USA. Not a surprise that it's Turang who has increased his name throughout this classic.
Highlight courtesy of Fox. He was hitting 400 after that hit for the World Baseball Classic. 400.
That's pretty good. I'll take that for most guys. Yeah.
Unfortunately for Bryce Turang, nobody else on the USA team knew how to get on base after that. And again, Turang's base hit was a ground ball as well to the right side. He had another ground ball to the right side later. But for the most part, they didn't get any loud contact against the pitchers at all for Venezuela. It wasn't good. Eduardo Rodriguez was looking like 5 years ago, Eduardo Rodriguez. So he was unbelievable and pitched really well. Every reliever they came in pretty much took over. So it wasn't pretty for Team USA. Then you get to the bottom of the 8th inning, and this dude does this.
Harper sends a fly ball to deep center field. Better late than never. Bryce Harper has tied the championship.
Man, my whole house was sleeping. I was chirping and yelling like, yeah, there you go, Bryce. Here we go. I was so excited. I was like, finally, now let's go. Let's do something. Don't lose this game. So excited. I was probably like one of 5 people in the country getting that excited about it. But I was pumped. I was like, all right, here we go. Come on. Now figure this out. And they did nothing after that. And then Eugenio Suarez, who I got made fun of by Drew Wagner all last year, all offseason, because I wanted the Brewers to go get Suarez at the trade deadline because I wanted power in this lineup to do something. In the previous game, Suarez hits a big home run for them. And then last night, he comes up with the big hit as well to win the game for them, right? And then, of course, bottom of the 9th inning comes up. They don't do jack. They didn't really ever get anything going. There wasn't even a rally in the bottom of the 9th. They got nothing done. Then on social media, I'm looking, and this is what I don't like. So the reason, a big reason, maybe not the reason, but a big reason of why this team was put together the way it was because of one dude who, earlier in the broadcast, they referenced as Captain America, which was Aaron Judge, who sucked in this tournament. He was horrible. Striking out, whiffing time and time again, right? And it happened again last night. He had like 3 strikeouts last night. It's horrible. But I get it. You're upset, so you got to find a fall guy. Dude, he wasn't the only one that was bad, man. There were a bunch of guys that did not play well in this World Baseball Classic besides Aaron Judge. And I know he's got the target on his back because he's the best guy, in that lineup, and he should have done more. But the Byron Buxton start, I don't care if the guy pitched with a left hand and then a right hand, then a left hand, then a right hand. I don't care. Buxton is not starting over Pete Crow Armstrong. Like, I don't care. Pete Crow Armstrong starting. Like, that was horrendous. Unless they had a deal where Buxton had to play so many innings or get so many at-bats or whatever. No idea. But if that wasn't the case, they didn't make a side deal because apparently, if you listen, there were a bunch of side deals being made between teams and the manager of Team USA and Valenzuela too. Same thing. You talk about Venezuela and their deal, they were told Valencia can't pitch unless it's a safe situation, the Cubs reliever. So unless it's a save, you can't pitch him. Okay. Then you had similar type stuff going on with Mason Miller and the Padres with what was going on with DeRosa. So DeRosa was going to pitch him if they had the lead. Otherwise, he wasn't going to pitch him because that was one of the questions afterwards. And we'll get into all of that tomorrow as far as the interference by MLB teams with these guys in the World Baseball Classic. It's not necessarily what I want to do right now. This is what I'd like to do. How much Do you think the mindset of both of these teams dictated the outcome of this baseball game in which Venezuela won and Team USA lost? How much do you think was dictated by that? Here is Salvador Perez before the game. Kansas City Royals catcher, won a World Series in Kansas City, went to 2 World Series in Kansas City, back-to-back with Ned Yost as the manager. This is Salvador Perez before the game and pregame.
How would winning this tournament compare?
Oh, kind of like the World Series, you know. I love Kansas City. I don't want people, get me wrong. I love the fan. I love Kansas City. I love the city. Thank you for everything. But when you play for your country, it's something different. It's something special, we play for 30 million people. It's super excited. I hope we can win tonight and give that to all the people in Venezuela because we got a lot of support from the fans, and they deserve that.
For all the Venezuelans here in Miami, all the Venezuelans back home, what would winning tonight mean?
It's gonna be super excited if we can win tonight. One thing that I want to say that we're ready. We all believe on God. God is the only know who's gonna win tonight. He know, but we prepare for compete, to do everything we have, and see what happened after the last out.
They started Salvador Perez over William Contreras. And what happened? My kid's like, "Whoa, what do you think?" What's the right move? William Contreras had nothing jack with a bat in this series. Nothing. So to start Salvador Perez over him, absolutely in a heartbeat for 2 reasons. One, as much as Contreras has gotten better, I think I trust Salvador Perez a little bit more in dealing with the guys on this team, right? Contreras knows his guys, and I'm not saying he may not know these guys as well, but I trust Salvador Perez a little bit more. And then from a bat perspective, he can't do any worse. So why not let Salvador Perez go out there? Because he's aging out. Because after a certain age, you don't get insurance for playing. So this is it. This was his last chance. This World Baseball Classic. This was his last go. This was his last game last night. So to let Salvador Perez start that game and play that game, I was 100% for it. I think it makes all the sense in the world to let him do that. Now, you have Derek Jeter. Now, they interviewed, we can't find the audio of it, but I watched it. They interviewed Aaron Judge before that game too. So they went Salvador Perez, they got done with that, and then they went to Aaron Judge. And Aaron Judge, again, I'm paraphrasing, pretty much said, "Hey, man, like it's all about the World Series at the end of the day. But, we'd like to win this too." That was his. And you heard what Salvador Perez said. You could just tell, listening to both, like, okay, these are the 2 leaders. One is saying it's everything, and the other one is like, we'll see. And all I kept saying in my house was, this is just like Giannis. It's the same thing, man. Said it before. You go win a medal in the Olympics or something like that, or even the Euro Cup, he went nuts. He lost his mind, right? And now you go tell him, hey, you won a silver medal in the Olympics. God only knows. He won a gold medal. Oh. But any medal, bronze medal, silver medal, that's going to supersede anything he does in the NBA. It's not going to even compare. Like, very important winning an NBA championship for his history and his legacy in the NBA as a player, for sure, absolutely. But completely different from on a personal, emotional level for doing it for your country. And with all due respect to our guys, it is not the same thing.
No, they don't care nearly as much as any of these other players playing for their countries. And I would say, like, the fan bases it's in the U.S., they care, but it also doesn't feel like we still care as much as some of these foreign fan bases, too. Some of these international fan bases that are just locked into this. This has been their life for 2 weeks.
Yep.
I feel like a majority of the American fans have been in and out of this tournament, just kind of paying attention when it matters the most. And that's the biggest difference, too, is that their countries are as in this as the players are.
Come back and continue on and play some more from the World Baseball Classic like last night straight ahead. Asking you, how do you think the mindset of both teams dictated the outcome of this game? Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back, Wisconsin Sports Daily. C. Sparky 5 for Charlie Usen reminding you tomorrow we'll be at the Annex at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. John Kuhn will be in the house along with Rami Makloff doing their show tomorrow. Then, of course, you'll have Mitch Thunder Nellis at the Annex doing his part of the Mason Crosby show. And then I'll be there with Wisconsin Sports Daily as well until 5 o'clock. So come hang out with us tomorrow. Potawatomi Casino Hotel right there as part of the Annex. Those of you looking to reserve seats and tables, they are sold out for Thursday and Friday. Limited seats in the sports book itself for Saturday and Sunday. If you want to try and reserve a seat for Saturday or Sunday, go to Potawatomi.com. Nominal fee, but it goes towards your food and beverage. Let's go to Bill in West Allis. You're next on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. How do you think the mindset of both teams in the World Baseball Classic dictated the outcome of the game last night, Bill?
So I just don't think by the end anybody cared that much. And the fact that everybody was dipping their hand in the pot to make sure their player didn't play too much messed up the whole thing. Guys coming and going like it's AAA to major leagues. I did have one suggestion on how I think they could make it better would be you move up the MLB season 1 week. Every 3 years for the All-Star break, you take 2 weeks and you run the World Baseball Classic in there. It lasted 13 days. These guys would all be in good form. They wouldn't be in spring training form. And it's set then every 3 years like the Olympics is set. You know when it's coming.
My concern on that is, we talked about this a little bit. Was it yesterday, I think? My concern only on it is, you run the risk of guys potentially getting hurt in those first couple of months versus coming off of the offseason and everybody is healthy and ready to go. And the same goes really with the pitching perspective of it as well. Now, would I rather watch that than a all-star game and several off days on either side of it? Absolutely. I would rather do that. I just think you risk potentially losing players because of injury if you do it in the middle of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you risk that, but you risk that every time they go out there, whether it's in the season, out of the season, guys breaking their hands, doing stupid stuff. The risk is going to be there at all times, no matter when you do it.
Right.
But I think it would also bring more people in America into it because you're in the middle of the baseball season. Everybody's fully jacked up and into it and ready to go.
My counter to that, Bill, what I said yesterday was this is the perfect time to do it because right now you're going against the NBA. You're going against the NHL. Your season starts next week. You got everybody geared up now for the start of baseball because what do they have? 5 million people. I don't know what it was last night, but the previous USA game, I had 5 million people. Now you're running ads promoting your opening day coverage and baseball is starting and so forth. Where if you look like at the NBA, that thing starts, nobody even knows it started until Christmas time.
True. I wasn't even aware the NBA was playing.
Well, most aren't at this point. Thanks for the call, Bill. Appreciate it, especially if you're a Bucs fan. Okay, that'll wrap up the first hour of the show. Coming up next, let's talk about the Crew. Rick Schlesinger, president of business operations for the Brewers, talked to the media today. Lots to discuss with that. You'll definitely want to stay tuned for that. Then we'll jump into some conversation about the Badgers coming up at 3:30 or 3:20, I should say. And then Charlie Sounds of the Day at 3:40. Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Welcome in. We are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. How you doing? Happy Wednesday to you. Don't forget, coming up still later in the show in the 4 o'clock hour, Green and Gold Update brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. More conversation about the World Baseball Classic and stock. Did it go up? Did it go down for you as a Brewers fan when we talk about Terang and Contreras and Churio and these guys that played in the World Baseball Classic? So we'll talk about that coming up at 4:20. Plus, we got to talk about the Admirals and things that Sparky missed. President of the Milwaukee Admirals, John Greenberg, will join us towards the end of the show. But right now, it's the top of the 3 o'clock hour, which means we do this. Okay, so lots to get to here. Just found out that we are going to have Rick Schlesinger on himself, the president of business operations for the Milwaukee Brewers, coming up Monday afternoon at 4:20. Rick Schlesinger, Monday afternoon at 4:20. And cannot wait to talk to Rick Schlesinger about all the stuff that kind of came up today. Now, we talked about some of this stuff yesterday as well. So first off, they cut a deal with a bunch of local TV stations, and they are going to broadcast their games, not all of them, some of them, a handful of them, around the state of Wisconsin. And locally, in the Milwaukee area, it would be on Fox 6, and then across the state, it's on different stations and so forth nearest to you. But what it looks like it's going to be, Brew Crew Tuesdays, essentially is what it is. And the games that I'm looking at here, March 31st, April 28th, and there's 2 in May, 1 in June, 3 in August. And then the last one they have is September 8th against the Cubs. So that is a pretty cool deal.
I would say they're pretty good games.
And it all starts with opening day on Thursday.
Exactly.
So the first one is opening day.
So they got March 31st is the Rays and the D-backs, the Padres, Cubs, Giants, Pirates, Mariners, Mets, Cubs. That's a pretty good lineup for those games, too. You would think that sometimes when they would have games like that, it would just be the Cardinals 3 times in that mix. And then you'd have maybe the Nationals for one of those games. They gave you premier games for the most part. I know the Giants and Pirates aren't those types of teams, but they could be this season. Both those teams have young talent that could play better than what people are expecting. I think this could be a really fun lineup. That's a really cool deal.
Yeah, I think so too. And again, I'm just a fan of over-the-air games, always have been. I still think there are a lot of people that simply aren't paying for cable or satellite and don't have the funding to have 30 apps on their phone and so forth. So to give them this opportunity to say their favorite team play, I think is a really, really big win at this point if you can do it. I'm sitting here on the Brewers website. On the front page of the website, I'm like, oh, I'll be able to find this TV news and so forth. There's nothing on the front page of the Brewers website about the local TV package. I got it on Fox 6, but I didn't see it there. So either way, but they're on all over the state of Wisconsin. So in your area, everybody will have an opportunity to see some free games for the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, the other part of this deal involving TV, when Rick Schlesinger was talking to the media today was, hey, man, like what is going on with knowing what channel these games are going to be on, whether if I have Spectrum, if I have Direct TV, whatever the case may be, Comcast, when do we find out the actual TV channel? Because like I have Direct TV. So for me, Bucks and Brewers have been on channel 669 the entire time. Now the Brewers are not going to be. So then I'm going to have to remember a whole new number and go through all this process of memorizing. And then I don't know. This is the other scary part about this. Dude, what is going on with the NBA and their teams? Because they're in the same boat, I think, as MLB. So why haven't we heard anything from the NBA side? They're trying to figure this out in the offseason, I'm guessing?
I would think so, and I don't think NBA TV is as strong of a base as MLB TV does, so it's a lot easier for MLB just to say, oh, we can take those teams. I don't really know what the NBA's plan is. They're going to have to cut some kind of deal or strengthen NBA TV somehow.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and find out what happens there. But Rick Schlesinger talks about the Brewers TV deal.
So we have a new television platform. Obviously, we were with FanDuel Sports last year, and we are now with MLB Media, which means that MLB, which controls the local television rights for about 15 MLB clubs, will be negotiating those distribution deals and finalizing all the production. Those deals are being negotiated as we speak. I suspect, as in the case of the last few years, they'll get done just maybe a couple days before opening day. So I can assure fans that if they're used to watching games on cable, satellite, and streaming, they're invariably going to have very similar options for 2026. We obviously want to tell fans what channels to watch on your cable system. As soon as we get the information, we'll get it. It may not be till the day before opening day, but fans will find us. And again, the streaming option is something that's becoming more popular with fans. It's $99.99 for a 6-month subscription. They get all local games, about 45 games that can be streamed to the app. And if you're a traditional cable or linear television viewer, you're going to be able to get those. We're waiting for MLB to tell us, what deals are finalized and what channels. But again, ask for people's patience. The games will be on the air. We're very excited about the quality of the distribution and production. We also have 10 over-the-air games, including home opener, and then 9 Tuesday games during the year. So there's a lot of different ways for fans to access the product. And if you can't come to the ballpark, or watch us on cable, satellite, or through the streaming program.
All right, so there's Rick Schlesinger talking. As far as I found the list in the press release of all these other TV stations. So if you're listening to us on the Game in Duluth Superior, KDLH-TV, KBJR-TV. If you're listening to us in the Wausau, Rhinelander area, WSAW, WZAW, WYOW, and, of course, WNFL in Green Bay, WGBA-TV, WACY-TV are the stations that are carrying it around the rest of the state. So you'll be able to watch it there. They still don't have a channel number designated to them for any of the other ones from Major League Baseball. The very first game is a week from tomorrow. Like, a week from tomorrow is the very first game for the Milwaukee Brewers against the Chicago White Sox at American Family Field.
Do you think there's a world where they don't get all of these deals done by that point? I mean, you have to, but what happens if you don't?
Well, the Brewers are okay if they don't because they have the local deal done now.
Guess, yeah.
So they're okay waiting, and they can wait till Saturday because they have an off day Friday. So really, Major League Baseball with them specifically can be like, okay, you're last. You got a TV deal done. We're going to go work on these other ones. We have to have a TV deal done with you by the time close of business on Friday next week. We're going to let you sit out there and wait since you have something in place because this deal that they cut starts with opening day. So again, depending on the area that you're living on, you find on your over-the-air TV, you watch it, don't need to know a number until Friday. I'm hoping that they figure this out by the time first pitch happens on opening day. That would be nice to give everybody 2 days to kind of put into our brain and set favorites and record immediately. Because I don't know about everybody else. I just hit record series on my DVR for DirecTV, and then boom, all the games record on that channel. I do the same thing for the Bucks. Makes things a lot easier. And we do the same thing here in the TV station with our Spectrum.
Yeah, it's a really simple process when you do it that way. Again, it just feels like this is something that should have been easy for them to have figured out by now. And it's weird that it's still taking so long just to get it all finalized. It feels like it should have been easy enough for this team.
Correct. Totally agree with you on that. Okay, so we have that. The other thing that came up today was they announced this new plaza area that they're doing that UW Credit Union is sponsoring. And I really want to talk to Rick on Monday because when I looked at the picture, the thing that I care about most, they've got picnic tables, they got lights strung out, right? They got it looks like a bar set up out there as well. And they have a little play area, playground type deal set up for the kids, which is great. They have a stage set up. I'm assuming they'll have bands and stuff on the stage. Charlie and I were talking about this before the show. At State Fair, I'm assuming they're doing it again this summer. I guess I haven't seen. But for the longest time, the Budweiser Pavilion, they had bands playing on Wednesday night at State Fair Park. Or I think it was Wednesday night. It was one night during the week. And every night it was a local band that would go out there and play. And people would go out there and drink and watch it. None of the rest of State Fair is open, just that. And people would enjoy themselves. So when you come up with this idea of, okay, we're doing all of this outside, my first thought was, oh, great. So now when the Brewers are on the road for the week or whatever, now there's still activation happening at American Family Field and a reason for families to go out and hang out and so forth. Like if there's a band playing, you can go out there, let your kids play in the play area, sit at a picnic table, enjoy yourself, and have fun. But they said mini golf is what they said. Okay. Now, never in my life did I think that it was not going to be an actual mini golf course. Never crossed my mind once, like, oh boy, they may not actually do this. No. So I look at the picture that was tweeted out and I zoom in on my phone with my fingers, shoop, and I go, Charlie, that looks like 4 holes. That does not look like an actual mini golf course. That looks like just a glorified putting green, and that's all this is going to be, essentially. Then you see the description of what this is, and they're taking things from around the state of Wisconsin, landmarks or whatever, and they're going to put them on the different holes to signify Wisconsin. There were 4 descriptions.
So that means 4 holes.
I hope not. We're going to talk to Rick on Monday. I hope, because again, you had another opportunity if you put a full golf course, a mini golf course in. I know it takes up so much space. Plenty of space.
You got space.
You have parking lots so big. There's talk of putting bars and restaurants and a limit. You have plenty of space. If you had that mini golf course, you had a band going on over here. You got the picnic tables and the bar and all that. Then you got the playground area. Then you got the mini golf course area over there. So you can still hear the music going on and having fun. Now you've got people there activated throughout the course of the year. You can have a trailer set up selling brewer merchandise every night with one person working the trailer and that whole deal. Makes all the sense in the world. 4 holes? I mean, maybe there'll be a family that wants to go play 4 holes at American Family Field, I guess, in the beginning, the novelty of it. But if it's not a full course, to me, it takes away from it a little bit, Charlie, if it really is only 4 holes.
And I get that. Maybe they just, that's the beginning. They're planning on adding more holes. You know what I was thinking?
I was thinking like Pirates Cove. Not like all of those holes, right? They've got more than 18. They got like 72 or whatever they got. They got a ton, right? But something like that.
I think
there was Congo River was a chain that was in Kenosha years ago. That was another big kind of like, that's kind of what I was thinking.
I think 8 holes would have been fine. I think more than 4. That seems, again, just too
not
small.
8, 9. 9 is what you would play on a golf course.
That's true.
Thanks.
But 8's more fun. I don't know. You could make it like the Ryan Braun course. Make it 8. There you go. See, I'm giving them ideas.
I have lots of jokes, and I won't say anything about that. But either way, so that part of it there, I'm a little more concerned about that. It's only 4 holes. Maybe it's not. But from what I saw, there's 4 descriptions.
And
so
maybe if their plan isn't to have it for just year-round use, but to get more traffic next to the stadium, up to the stadium before the games instead of in the parking lots to get people to buy their stuff before they even enter the gates. Maybe that's the plan. And you just have people walking by there to play it for a little bit or have their kids distracted for a little bit while you grab a beer. Or after the game, the same deal. It gets that job done. Maybe not the best, maybe not like a full mini golf course, but it does that.
I would imagine you're right. Okay. I'll just give you this. I would imagine you're right, but it's a blown opportunity. It's a blown opportunity. You listen, you aren't going to have to pay thousands of dollars to have a local band come play there on a certain night on Thursday nights, let's say. Hey, when the Brewers are on the road every Thursday night, we got X band, we got the whole band schedule set up. And then if you're like, I don't want to deal with supplying the food and whatever else, fine, then let the food trucks pull up and have 2 or 3 food trucks out there feeding people. You got the band playing, you supply the beer and all of that, have your Brewers pop-up trail, you got a full mini golf course going on, all that. I don't know, man. Like, you could say full mini golf course not open on game days. Okay, fine, no big deal. But on non-game days, that bad boy is open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday when the Brewers aren't home. You don't even have to open it on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Just open it up for 4-day weekend play and then have your bands playing there when that thing is going on.
Even though it's not going to cost that much, you're still going to have to pay a little bit for some kind of labor. People have to be out there working the mini golf course, stuff like that.
Correct.
It's a lot easier just to lump all that stuff in with your already game day operations that you have instead of adding a whole new smaller department of game day operations for when you're at away games for these people to run that sector. Even if it's just food trucks, you need somebody to at least order the food trucks and get these people to come and do all that work. That's a whole nother job. If you do it this way, you can put it into somebody's job description that's already doing most of these same things on a game day.
Yep. Dan in the 715 texted back. Sparky, can you say those stations again for the over-the-air stations? Yes, Dan. I'm here to make sure everybody has everything they need to watch Brewers baseball. Very, very important. In Milwaukee, it is WITI, which is Fox 6. To the rest of y'all, I don't know the numbers, and they don't have the numbers in here for the rest of the state, so I can only know the call letters that they put in the press release. Duluth Superior, which is KDLH-TV and KJBR-TV. So if you're listening on the game in Duluth Superior, KDLH and KBJR,
which is
TV.
Channel 3, the CW.
Okay, so Channel 3 in Duluth Superior. Wausau, which is WSAW-TV, WZAWLD, and WYOW if you're listening on the game in Wausau. So
is Channel 7.
Channel 7 in Wausau. Good. And now to Green Bay, WGBA-TV and WACY-TV if you're listening to us on WNFL.
Which is Channel 26.
There you go. So 3, 7, 26. And then in Milwaukee, Channel 6. And so be on the lookout. It starts opening day. So I don't know if your guide goes past a week or not. But you can at least go up once you get to Friday. I think you should really get to Thursday at least. Go up and record that game on your DVR or whatever, and you're all set, ready to rock and roll. All right, coming up next, I saw an interesting stats about the Wisconsin Badgers and the NCAA tournament that had me pondering about Greg Gard. We'll talk about that next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen, hanging out with you on a Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, each and every day, start your morning with Inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht. Now, you can't do that tomorrow and Friday, however, because they're both on vacation this week. NCAA tournament starts, and these two, we're going to take a vacation. Okay, sounds good. But again, this is what happens. Spring break, man. Got to go somewhere, right? I heard them this morning on the morning show. Tim and Tommy were filling in for those two guys. And they were saying that Trevor is in Nashville. He is not. He is in Tennessee. He's in Gatlinburg, I believe, in hanging out in some like big. I mean, they went with several families, so they got some like big house, like up in the mountains, a whole deal type deal. He was telling me about it before he left. Like, oh damn, that sounds unbelievable. So he's got that going on.
Got to watch out for bears out there.
And then Josh,
Got to watch out for bears out there, black bears.
Really?
Uh-huh. And they've been getting more comfortable going into like the urban areas I've been seeing.
That's great. Yeah, I've never been to Gatlinburg. I've always wanted to go. I've never been though. But anyway, so that's where he is. And then Josh back to Disney World, of course. But he's going with like a bunch of people this time compared to the other times when he's went. So I'm sure he'll have a good time as well. So hopefully they'll have a lot of fun. And that is what they're doing. They'll both be back on Monday. So I came across this post on X. I'm trying to do this better now that Twitter has officially been gone for a while. I've succumbed to just trying not to call it Twitter as much, trying just to say posts or whatever the case may be on X. It's a lot easier to say tweets than remember to say posts, by the way. And there was this post last night about the Badgers, and it comes from UW Stats and Info. Official stats, notes, and updates from the UW Badgers Brand Communications Department. Hashtag on Wisconsin. Okay. NCAA tournament appearances. Greg Gard era. So since 2016, they put this out. Do you know how many tournament appearances Penn State Nittany Lions have had in basketball since 2016? You know, we know they're good in football.
Yeah, but there's a lot of other good teams in Big Ten basketball.
Yeah, but there's like 7 teams that make it every year.
2, I would say.
1.
Oh, I was close. Okay.
I don't really care about these teams that came from the West necessarily, so we're not going to go over all of them. Right, but just teams that have been here. Minnesota.
Probably 2.
2.
Yeah.
Rutgers, 2. Nebraska, 2. Northwestern, 3. Indiana. You remember when they were really good? We just got done yesterday talking about them spending like $32 million on their basketball program for expenditures, travel, all this other stuff. By far and away, the most in the Big Ten, not close. Wisconsin was at $12 million, and this was for last season, not this past season. 3. They've been to the tournament 3 times in the last 10 years.
Haven't done anything with it either.
3. That's nuts. Okay. Iowa 6, Illinois 6. I'm just staying with the old school Big Ten teams. Michigan 8, Wisconsin 8. The only schools better than Wisconsin and Michigan, Purdue and Michigan State, both with 10. And Painter and Izzo do it as good as anybody.
Right.
The question I have is this. I was considering doing the lazy thing, which is, how would you grade? Nah, I don't want to do that. I want to make you really have a thoughtful response, whether it be on the YouTube chat, right? Streaming us live on X and on YouTube at WI Sports Radio. We're here every day, 2 to 5. Or whether it be in a post on X back at us or on Facebook or Instagram, or if you use the Nicolay Talk and text line. How would you summarize Greg Gard's tenure as Badgers head coach? Only 2 teams, only 2 coaches have made more NCAA tournaments in the Big Ten, including all these West Coast teams that just got here, than Greg Gard. Matt Painter, Tom Izzo. That's the line. That's it. Nobody else. They both made it 10. Him and Michigan, with different coaches, have made it 8 times in his deal here in 2016. How would you summarize Greg Gard's tenure at Badgers head coach? Nicolay Law Talk at text line 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. If you took that resume and went to a majority of schools in Division I basketball and offered that up, No caveat of how far you're going to go in the tournament every year. Just 8 tournament appearances in 10 years. Do you want this guy? Wouldn't you think most would say yes? Don't you think most would be like, where do I sign up? How much is this going to cost me? Because I have an open checkbook to pay this dude. I want that dude coaching my team. Don't you think?
Most people would be down for that, yeah.
And most people listening to the sound of our voices around the state of Wisconsin want Greg Gard gone. And have wanted Greg Gard gone for a minute now. This isn't something that just popped up this year. It's been something that's been going on. And we talked about this yesterday as far as the pressure, and if there is pressure, which there isn't because McIntosh can't touch him after the fiasco that he created for football. But the idea is that he's not even a bridesmaid. He's just one of the people in the wedding party hanging out. He's never even gotten to the point of being a bridesmaid. Be a bridesmaid, you got to at least get to the Final Four at this point. I mean, for being honest, he's in the wedding. Maybe he's a flower girl. But I don't even know if he's even standing up there with the bride at this point. Maybe I think that's maybe where he is he gets to walk down the aisle, throw the flowers. Oh, isn't he cute? Oh, she's so cute. That's kind of what he is. But he's not. I don't know if he's even standing up there right now. I mean, do you think he's standing up there right now?
No, I don't think so, especially when Michigan and Purdue have both made it to national championship games within the past 10 years.
They're standing up there.
Michigan State, even though it hasn't been within the past 10 years, has still always been competitive and has made national championship games, has won national championship games under Tom Izzo as head coach. They have that history behind them. I think Wisconsin, yes, it does hurt them a little bit that they haven't made it that far in that tournament. It hurts Greg Gard a little bit, especially considering the year before he becomes head coach, they make it to the national championship game. They have one of the most unbelievable victories in the Final Four.
He was on that staff now. He was Bo's right-hand guy, Bo Ryan's right-hand guy.
But then he takes over as head coach the next year, and you just never really get back to that point. So I think that hurts him a little bit more that right before he becomes the head coach, they get to that point. And then now you have to try to reach that goal again. Win the Big Ten, like I mentioned before, has just been star-studded at the same time, too. You're constantly going up against at least 5 other teams that are potentially better than you that season in this division.
For those of you that are like, that's mean. I call him flower girl. Hey, you can't get out of the first round regularly. I can't put you up on the altar with the other bridesmaids and the brides, with all the other brides, or not brides.
Bridesmaids.
Yeah, bridesmaids. I can't put you up there. There's no chance I'm putting you up. You can't get out of the first round consistently. There's no reason you should be up there at this point. Maybe if you want to change, you're like, oh, it's gender specific. Okay, well, maybe he's the ring boy. Maybe he's an usher, but he ain't standing up on that altar with all those dudes either. He's not right there right now. And the reason I said a ringer or a flower girl, because they're cute. All flower girls are cute. Right? Everybody in the church is like, oh, she's so cute. That's what you get, right?
You get the same response for the past 10 years is that, oh, the Badgers are better than everybody thinks they are. Oh, they made a hot run, or they're at this point where they might do it. They might get there. And at the beginning of the season, they just weren't this same team. Greg Gard said it himself yesterday in that press conference that I played during Charlie's Sounds of the Day, is that everybody wants to talk down on them, look down on them at the beginning of the season, and then they're a good story at the end of the season. So then it never really becomes a problem when they do lose in the first round because, hey, it was a good story.
How would you summarize Greg Gard's tenure as a Badgers head coach? Only Izzo and Painter have been to the tournament more than him in the last 10 years. 10 times. He's been there 8. 8 of 10. I tell you, if you take this resume around the country without showing them what he does in the tournament, everybody signs up and wants him as their head coach. I don't care what university you are. You're going to take Greg Gard. Now, the powerhouse universities, Kansas, Duke, those schools, they want to see what the tournament looks like. What's his tournament record? That's nice, but what's the tournament record? Then they'll see that and be like, we're out. We don't need them. We're good. Right? Because they're the blue bloods, whatever. Okay, I understand that. But if you take them out of it and you go to everybody else, they're going to sign them and take it every day of the week. But here in Wisconsin, where we reside, people's patience has run thin. From the 262, Greg Gard is Wisconsin-esque. Great regular season, underwhelming postseasons from the 262. How can you argue? How can you argue? You can't argue that against Matt LaFleur. You can't argue that against the Bucks and Giannis since the championship because they keep getting booted in the first round. Numerous coaches, different talent, all the Giannis hurt every year. So can't argue about it against the Bucks. And the Brewers have been constantly getting booted in the first round until this last year when they got by the Cubs, which was needed. And then they got their tail beat in by the Los Angeles Dodgers, which, again, if we're being real, that should have happened. I mean, based on talent and everything else, the whole us against the world Murphy play really was put out there of like, okay, yeah, he's right. They don't match up with them necessarily nearly as much. So I think that's probably right. That whole Wisconsin-esque thing, that kind of does summarize all of the teams in this state right now.
It does. And it's frustrating to see that does play for every single one of these squads. It'd be nice for Greg Gard and the Badgers this year to make a little bit of a run, make some noise, try to be that team that breaks that stigma a little bit, because it shouldn't be like that. It feels like a lot of these Wisconsin teams, they get to that point and then they settle too a little bit sometimes, and they're okay with running out the same teams and not taking some of these risky moves because they took one 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and now they got to wait a little bit longer. The Badgers could change that a little bit. You went out and brought in Nick Boyd, who seems better than John Tanji almost at this point. We all loved John Tanji last year, and now this team looks like it's just more complete this season. Go out and prove that.
UW Stats and Info, who tweeted out that list, had another tweet. Nationally, only Gonzaga, Michigan State, Purdue, which we said, only Gonzaga, Michigan State, Purdue, Duke, Kansas, they all have 10 appearances since 2016. Then Kentucky and North Carolina, 9. And then Wisconsin at 8 with Michigan.
That's a pretty good group to be a part of. But again, a lot of those other teams have made runs in those past 10 years. Mm-hmm.
Maybe they didn't finish to get to the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
This dude.
Even Elite 8, just get there, man.
You just cannot figure it out. From the 608, Jacob Intosa, Greg Gard is the Bill Belichick of Matt LaFleur's great regular season coach ever, with a lot of postseason meltdowns. From Jacob Intosa. Bill Belichick of Matt LaFleur's. I don't know. I'll give you an A for creativity, meaning he's a Hall of Famer of being that guy that can't figure out how to do it in the postseason, but has great regular seasons. But he's not a cheater. Rick in Waukesha, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What's up, Rick?
Well, I think Greg Gard's an excellent coach, and he gets more out of the talent that he has, and he's clearly done that this year. There isn't a player or very few players in their rotation that haven't improved. Beliuskas has become a much better player.
Yes.
He plays both ends of the floor now. He's an excellent rebound. He's become an excellent rebounder. He plays better defense. Clearly his offense, more confidence, shoot the ball, but he's scoring points inside. Rapp's doing the same thing, not just making three-pointers, but he's playing on both ends of the floor. Carrington has really come around. I think Carrington is one of the more underrated, not just because of his shooting, but he plays good defense.
His shooting's gone well. His shooting's gone south in the last few games, but during the season, yes, he has. Yes, correct.
That happens. Yep. But he's a more complete player. He takes the ball to the basket. The only guy that I would say hasn't really shown improvement is the kid from Brookfield Central, Rhodey. And Rhodey does some good things, but he makes a lot of mistakes. Like, he has some assists, but then he throws the ball away sometimes and forces it. But the way Boyd has played, and Boyd has settled in more, he still gets a little, he pushes it a little too much once in a while, but they need him to do that because he creates, and it does cause some turnovers. I think he's done a great job, but I don't think it's just this year. He's also done a really good job with limited resources up until I think this year in the NIL area and in the transfer portal. He brought in Storr 2 years ago. Yep. Last year brought in Tanjay. This year Boyd. All three of them. And Boyd got screwed. He's a first-team All Big Ten guy. Yep. There's no way he shouldn't have been. But he brought in two guys that were All-Americans and first-team Big Ten. So I think, and I remember him saying, I did play basketball at Wisconsin 50-plus years ago, but I remember Coach Gard saying that when the NIL thing and the transfer portal started, his coaches were spending as much time raising money as they were coaching because all the emphasis was on the football program getting money, and that's gotten us nowhere. It's gotten us nowhere.
And now you have this bill that's trying to get through because of McIntosh saying they're trying to get $14 million, and then they're going to get a couple $100,000 from Milwaukee and Green Bay to take care of stuff, for the field house and for the stadiums and all that.
Houses now it's past both houses. Now Evers just has to sign it.
Correct.
And if he signs it, then the university. But basketball now is getting some help from the athletic department and donors that are helping raise money for basketball. But they weren't 3 years ago.
Correct.
They were doing it all themselves. So I don't know how anybody can be unhappy with Greg Gard. Anybody that you look what happened to the football program. They went out and got supposedly. Agreed. But it's not just that. You look at other basketball programs in the country that were top level basketball programs, and they fell off the face of the earth. They weren't making the tournament. It happened to Louisville after they had coaching issues. I mean, they're back. A lot of them are back competing now. But there's multiple programs around the country that's happened. So I don't know how anybody cannot be happy with Greg Gard.
Well, it happened to St. John's too. I mean, St. John's is another university that was prominent year in and year out, and then it went to the wayside now, and Patino's got that thing resurrected. Thanks for the call, Rick.
Gard's had one bad season, and I don't remember what happened that year. He's had one bad season. Otherwise, he's had excellent programs, and I mean, I don't know how anybody can want him not to be the coach, and he's perfect for Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a unique program. It's never going to be Michigan State, Purdue, as far as the way the programs are looked at. Not that they can't compete, because they did it in 14 and 15 and made the Final Four. And I think this year their team's got a really good chance to play in the Sweet 16. I think this is the team.
Don't be a stranger, my friend. Don't be a stranger. That was all good stuff. I appreciate the call. Appreciate it. Yeah, for sure. Again, everything he said is accurate. Nothing he said was false, right? As far as kind of working with your hands tied behind your back, trying to make this all work with NIL, transfer portal, and everything else. And as we talked about before, yesterday, Friday, whatever, I said, man, if I was Shaka Smart, I'd buy Greg Gard dinner wherever he wants to go and explain to me what you're looking for in the portal and how you're having so much success in the portal in the last few years, because he has figured it out. He has figured out who fits best in his system, and it has to be more than just uber talented. There's got to be all the other stuff. Guys that are willing to play hard, guys that are willing to practice hard, guys that are going to still get the grades, guys that are going to be good teammates, guys that are going to adapt to the coaching style that you have. Like, there's a lot that goes into it versus just randomly going, oh, that's the highest rated guy in the portal. Let's go get him. No conversations, no nothing. We're just going to go spend a bunch of money on him, and this will all work out for us. There's so much more that goes into it. And again, comparing him to Paul Chryst, that program was going to bowl games every year, and now they can't even get to a damn bowl game with Luke Fickell. It was a gamble by Chris McIntosh, one that was universally applauded and people were excited about. I should say universal. A bunch of people thought Jim Leonard should have had the job. Fine. But outside of that, nationally and so forth, everybody's like, oh, wow, okay, they're going for it. They're going to try and be real. And then Fickell got there and then quickly realized he made a bad decision on the offensive coordinator, Longo, with what they were trying to do versus what it would actually work. And B, they decided, even though he said when he got here, oh, we're going to recruit in the state, didn't. And now he's trying to mend fences and get some of these kids to come. And he's off to a good start with his next recruiting class. So I give him credit for that, figuring it out. And then he realized he couldn't compete financially at the big level with NIL and everything else. And thank God for him, he's got McIntosh, who's all about trying to figure out that football program, because his reputation is on the line. More so than even Luke Fickell's reputation is on the line. If Fickell gets fired, he's going to get another head coaching job. It may not be in the Big Ten. Somebody's going to give him a job. If Chris McIntosh gets fired, I don't know where he's going. I have no idea.
I feel like
he doesn't have to work. Remember, he's a former NFL player. He's fine.
Well, and I feel like there are smaller universities that would love to have the former Wisconsin AD on their staff. For sure. That private universities, that would probably pay a lot of money. Yeah, it's not as prestigious as being the Wisconsin Badgers AD, but if you wanted to go to Elmhurst University and be their AD, they'd pay you a lot of money to go to Elmhurst University and be their AD. And you don't need that much money because you're a former NFL player.
Schwartz Center text in with the 262 says, Gard's an usher at that wedding. Does the job during the ceremony, regular season, but gets way too drunk during the reception, the tournament, and is embarrassing That's from Schwartz Center. That's kind of funny.
I like that one. Yeah.
That's kind of funny. That is. I've been to those weddings and I know exactly those people that you're talking about. That's kind of funny. But again, right now he's got no pressure because they're not touching him because of the football thing or whatever. But the reason they moved on from Christ, you could argue would be the reason they move on from Greg Gard, which is you want to compete for a national championship and he's not getting you to where you want to go. It'll be the same reason why Ed Policy moves on from Matt LaFleur at some point if he can't get them to where he wants to go, because Policy wants to win Super Bowls because it is title town and his legacy is going to be based on what happens outside of Lambeau, signage rights and all that other stuff and making them financially good, which they are right now. What did they make? 90 million last year, 89 million last year. So they're fine. But that and then on the field, obviously, is going to get tied back to him. Murphy got a Super Bowl. And then you go back to Harlan, he got a Super Bowl. So those guys have both things attached, right? They have the business success, Murphy and Harlan, and they have on-field success. Policy now is in the same position. So LaFleur's going to get the next couple of years, and if they don't advance in the postseason in the next couple of years, then I'm willing to bet you Ed Policy is going to make a change, and it could involve the GM as well.
Well, and that's something you have to do when you are the Green Bay Packers and when you are the Wisconsin Badgers and you've had as much recent success as you've had, you kind of have to make those type of decisions too. Just because you haven't been able to get out of that first round doesn't mean you haven't been a perennial playoff team, a team with history behind you that should make tough decisions if needed.
He is Charlie Usen, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer here. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Speaking of that sportsbook, we're going to be hanging out there tomorrow from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. We're in the annex. So as you go into the Potawatomi Sportsbook, the Potawatomi Casino Hotel, it's just to the left of the entrance of the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's a whole nother room set off to the left there. There's no doors or anything. You just walk in. They have a whole row of betting kiosks or whatever right up against the wall. Then they have sofas and chairs and tables, 3 gigantic big screen TVs with more TVs on the walls around that. Come check it out. Hang out with us. Watch some college basketball. John Kuhn, Rami Makaloff broadcasting 9 to noon there. Then at noon, Mason Crosby will be where he normally is in Tennessee. Mitch Thunder Nellis will be in the annex doing his show. And then we'll be on the air tomorrow as well, the Wisconsin Sports Daily. So come hang out with us tomorrow at the annex at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. It's going to be a lot of fun. Welcome back, Wisconsin Sports Daily. C. Sparky Fiver hanging out with you on a Wednesday. Don't forget on Fridays at 4:20, Habish and Rotier bring you Plead the Fifth Fridays at 4:20. You can nominate people all week long on the talk and text line. Who do you want to see? Shh, quit talking about whatever it may be. Nobody's nominated me in all these weeks. I'm pretty shocked by that, to be honest with you.
I'm pretty shocked by that too. I would assume Sparky would have been one of the majority of these.
And Brandon Snide on 9 to Noon with Kuhn, I thought he'd be nominated every week for some of the stuff he says, and he gets away with it scot-free. He's only been nominated one time, and that was by what was it? That was by a listener.
By a listener and me.
Yeah,
I was not
you.
happy with what Brandon said.
Yeah. But I'm just really surprised. And Rami Magloff, how does he get away with not being nominated? Everybody's on that dude.
He was on once, wasn't he?
Nope.
For his Olympic takes. Yeah, we did talk about that.
Yes, you're right. Yes. Habish for Rotier been helping with injured Wisconsinites for nearly 100 years. 13 locations around the state. If you're listening in Wausau, yep, they're there. Right there in the backyard of the game. And how about WNFL in Green Bay and Appleton? Yep, they're there too. All over the state, 13 different places. The only way you can have 13 different places is if you are very good at what you do and people know who you are. I've talked about this before. Habish has been a part of my life since I was a little kid growing up. One of my buddies, we always used to make fun of him with this girl that he really liked and put her last name at the beginning of it. Habish, and then her name after that. It was very, very funny, and I'll never forget it. So even back when I was younger, I knew about Habish. And now that I'm older and have been through, a serious car accident and being hurt and all that stuff, and knowing how scared and nervous you are, knowing you don't know what to do next, you have no idea how to handle the medical bills and everything else going on, and knowing you want to get what's yours because obviously it wasn't your fault. Habish from Rotier, here to help you. National reputation, hometown service. Yes, they've won big cases, but your case, when you're working with their lawyers, is going to be the most important thing to them because it's the most important thing to you. And you should feel important because it's a big deal. And sometimes you go to some people and you can tell you're just a number amongst many numbers, and those that can make them more money, they care more about. And you, not so much, because you're not going to get as much back. So they treat you like you're just another case. Doesn't happen with Habish from Rotier. Again, national reputation, hometown service. Check them out today at habish.com. Again, that's habish.com. Coming up next, Green and Gold update brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Also, we'll get to Charlie's Sounds of the Day. We're late for that. We'll do that coming up at 4:20. Things Sparky missed brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals, featuring John Greenberg, president of the Milwaukee Admirals. That's all coming in the 4 o'clock hour. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. See Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Don't forget, coming up tonight, 5 o'clock, we will have Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up coming up tonight from 5 until 5:30. 5 to 5:30, Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up. Don't go anywhere. It is that time again. 4 o'clock hour. Man, it is number one story on ESPN. All about Bucks wanting to shut down Giannis for the season. That's all they've been talking about. That's it. Every time I look up at ESPN, that is what they're talking about. Kendrick Perkins has probably talked about this on 5 different shows already since the news broke a little while ago. I don't want to listen to Kendrick freaking Perkins. Good God. Okay, coming up here in the 4 o'clock hour, lots to get to, including Charlie Sounds of the Day comes up here in about 20 minutes. Things that Sparky missed, including the president of the Milwaukee Admirals, John Greenberg, will join us coming up at around 4:40, 4:45. Looking forward to that. In the meantime, it's 4 o'clock. We got to do this. All right, time for our green and gold update. Some random news that A.J. Dillon, fan favorite here in the state of Wisconsin, going to the Carolina Panthers, it looks like on a 1-year deal. Good for A.J. Dillon. Not quite sure how long his career is going to be, though. I'm happy that he got the gig, and hopefully he gets a good run. Like, you can't, or at least I haven't found. I mean, again, I don't live up in the Door County, Green Bay area necessarily. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say a bad word about that dude at any point. Like, every time I talk to somebody that has come in contact with A.J. Dillon, it's always like a 5-star review. Like, nicest dude ever, blah, 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 blah. Everybody loves him. And it's unfortunate that the dude can't be here with the Packers in Green Bay, even though they need a running back currently. That would have made some sense for the Green Bay Packers if they wanted to go back to that. The problem is that the only way that works is if Brooks wasn't the third back who they signed, and if the player not to be named who's never healthy was actually that explosive back like he showed in college, then you could justify Dillon as a third running back that comes in and runs people over at the goal line. And as I've stated before, and I'll say it again, Tim Allen was on this morning with Tommy Wirtz, and they're back out again tomorrow, filling in on Inside Wisconsin Sports. They did their crosstalk with John Kuhn this morning. And he brings up to John Kuhn, he goes, man, I saw Ricard, left the Ravens and is going to the Giants or whatever. It makes sense, Harbaugh, right? And big fullback and so forth like that. And I thought of you. And then he asked Kuhn, hey, do you think you could go do a drive? Do you think if they said, hey, man, we'll flare out to the fullback from the 3, do you think you get in or whatever? And Kuhn started laughing. He's like, dude, I'm 43, man. I don't know about all that necessarily. But it got me thinking to the aspect of, like we've talked about prior, why isn't A.J. Dillon a fullback in this league by now? Like, does he not want to be a fullback? Because the fullback is coming back in style again in the National Football League. He is a massive human being that could knock people backwards over and over again. Yes, he's not going to get the carries. But, dude, you're not getting the carries anyhow, no matter where you go. You may get, 3 to 4 carries in a game, whatever the case may be. Why not be on the football field as much as possible? Like, if you go back, and again, I always go back to a couple of different scenarios here. If you go back to like Warwick Dunn and Mike Allstott just beat the hell out of people. And then eventually he'd get his chance to carry the ball a few times. And then he'd go back to beating the hell out of people. Leroy Horde and Robert Smith back in the day for the Vikings. Another massive human being. And if you played fantasy like I did back then, man, you'd get so mad at Leroy Horde because he'd steal all of Robert Smith touchdowns when they got near the goal line. He'd get like 8, 9 touchdowns a year and took away Robert Smith touchdowns. A.J. Dillon could be that same type of player if used correctly by a Harbaugh, probably, or by some of these other guys. You're telling me A.J. Dillon in front and Josh Jacobs coming behind, that ain't going to be a load to deal with in December when it's cold outside, those guys coming downhill at you? No linebackers going to want to deal with A.J. Dillon running straight at him with no intention of stopping. He's going to run right through him. Again, it's about using people the right way. And unless he just refuses to play fullback and has absolutely no desire to do that, if I was his agent, I'd be trying to sell A.J. Dillon as a fullback. Hey, he wants to play fullback. He hasn't really played fullback in the NFL, but he wants to learn and he wants to do it with you. Are you in or are you out? Like, you would think somebody would jump at the chance to mold this dude into a punishing fullback.
I think there's a couple things here with A.J. Dillon and then just the fullback position in specific. I don't know if A.J. Dillon is really that type of blocker, is really that type of aggressive when it comes to his running style. And then for him to be like that Mike Allstott, you still have to be an effective running back too on top of things. And I don't know if A.J. Dillon, when he peaked, was probably a second string running back, is really all that great of a running back in terms of comparing him to a guy like Mike Allstott. And then the modern fullback just is more tight end like than running back like nowadays. You see these guys coming out of the backfield looking for a pass more often than not. Pat Ricard, that's something that they rely on him a lot to do and be able to do that within the red zone. I don't know if that's A.J. Dillon's play style.
He can catch the ball. Nah, he ain't. Now, again, of all offenses talk about, he's got to catch the ball. When your receivers don't catch the ball, this is the wrong offense to come crying to me about having to catch the football for anybody. But you're telling me A.J. Dillon can't catch a little pass in front of him for 3 yards as a safety valve for Jordan Love, turn around and run upfield when there's nobody around him?
You have 3 tight ends that do that already too. That's my next point. Is that the modern NFL offenses again just don't use that tight end or that fullback in that
coming
position.
Back and stop. Coming back and
stop. I don't know if it is.
Look at the Niners. Niners have been rolling with this for a while now.
But again, that's because they have Kyle Juszczyk, who is just that good and is that solid at that position and is able to continue to be a Pro Bowler at that position. Like, you have to be a top tier guy in order to get that type of role in a modern offense.
You got to give him a chance for him to be a top tier guy. How's he ever going to be a top tier guy if nobody wants to give him a chance?
I would assume that the Green Bay Packers probably gave A.J. Dillon some kind of chance in some kind of role like that during training camp, during these times where he could be more of a receiving option out of the backfield if needed to be. He probably just didn't excel in that role because they probably would have used him in that role. I don't know. Matt LaFleur is a smart guy. Matt LaFleur is a guy who knows how to run an offense. And if he sees a player that's giving you a different type of avenue to go down with your offense, he uses that. See Jaden Reed in the way that he started using Jaden Reed, or even Tucker Kraft in the screen game last year, and finding different ways to get these guys to use their abilities. If he felt like A.J. Dillon could do that, I feel like he would have used A.J. Dillon that way.
Well, then fine. You're lost. Some other coach give him a chance at this then. That's all I'm saying. I could be wrong. Maybe he'll never get a chance to play fullback. Fine, so be it. I'm just saying that big body, being some guy running downhill to blow you up, man, I'm all about that. If I'm an offensive coach, I'm all about that. But either way, so just wanted to bring that up about A.J. Dillon. There was also a story. Andy Dalton got traded today too for a 7th. We're sitting here looking for a backup quarterback. And I heard Tommy Wirtz earlier today poo-pooing Joe Flacco. I don't want Joe Flacco. Well, why? Why not? That's exactly what I want. Give me an old guy that knows how to win a game or two, that's a veteran, that can come in here and help. And who knows, being a guy that's been in the league 100 years might be able to bring something to Jordan Love too and help him watching film or whatever the case may be. And bring me the old guy. Brett Favre had an old guy in Doug Peterson. After he had all those young guys behind him that they kept trading, he finally said, I want somebody my age. Bring somebody my age because I'm old. They brought Doug Peterson in, held the clipboard, hung out with Brett. They watched film together, whatever. And then Doug Peterson became a coach. I'm totally fine going and getting one of these old guys like Dalton, like Flacco, like whoever to come in here and back up versus, as we've talked about, some type of project like you had Malik Willis. And just because it worked once does not mean it's going to work every single time you bring somebody in. I appreciate the love and support of Matt LaFleur developing quarterbacks and thinking he can do this to every single person you bring to him. But it would be nice if you had that veteran player in there. And when I mean veteran, I don't mean Desmond Ridder, who's on the roster right now. That is not my idea of veteran, right? That dude has had no success at the NFL level. Now, the one thing that has not been brought up, at least not on this show, nobody's talking about what if Desmond Ridder is the project they're going to do? What if they're not even looking or thinking about replacing the backup quarterback? What if they look at Desmond Ridder and go, we can do with him what we did with Malik Willis? Not training for Anthony Richardson, not training for anybody else. Desmond Ridder is going to be our project, and we're going to make him into a serviceable quarterback. And then we're going to get something for him when this whole thing is signed, that the project you all want them to have is already on the Green Bay roster, Charlie.
feel like people aren't going to like me for this. I kind of like it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't.
He has
starting experience.
Yes, in Atlanta.
League.
He was horrible.
At Atlanta, and he was horrible. But he also, I think, fits the play style of Jordan Love a little bit better than Malik Willis did. And because of that, you don't have to change that offense nearly as much with a player like that. And that's something I was asking for when bringing in a backup quarterback, is that you want somebody where Matt LaFleur can get all these guys in the offense into the same kind of rhythm without jumping back and forth between what you're doing and throwing some of these players out of that rhythm. I think Desmond Ridder gets you closer to that than Malik Willis does.
Andy Dalton, by the way, to the Eagles to back up Jalen Hurts, if you were wondering. And again, what did they do? They said, I don't need to develop anybody. Just give me a veteran quarterback that if this dude gets hurt. And again, Andy Dalton's play style is not that of Jalen Hurts. And that is the other thing that we've had conversations about, which is, do you want the play style to be closer to Jordan Love, or do you want a complete change up like Malik Willis? Because it's much, much more difficult to defend a completely different playing style when the backup quarterback is different than the starting quarterback than when they both play similarly. Because now you're not having to change schemes. You're not having to change much of anything. You just play the same role, and odds are that player is not as good as the other guy, and they're the same type of player, right? So you don't worry about it as much. But when you throw a completely different player who has different strengths and weaknesses than the starting quarterback, and you have a play caller that knows what he's doing, like Matt LaFleur, that puts the defense at a huge disadvantage. And that's what I want to see when we watch the Dolphins this year. They're going to stink, right? They got nobody left. They've emptied the cupboard. They're going to get draft picks. It's going to be a full rebuild. There's going to be no pressure on Malik Willis. But how does he look as people game plan for him week in, week out? Week in, week out. How does he look? Because right now, they had an idea of how to stop him, but it wasn't like it was full game plan and knowing. When you play the same team in your division twice, the first game, maybe he looks good. What does he do the second game after they've played against him the first time? In year two, what does that look like when they're playing him for the third and the fourth time? How does that plan? Because eventually, they figured out how to slow down Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. Eventually you figure it out. And he's still very, very good. He's still a great quarterback, but it maybe not as easy as it was when he first got in the league and people were like, holy crap, this dude is unbelievable. He's electric. What do we do? Now, part of the reason that you figure out how to beat Lamar Jackson is what? He got physically beat up and has lost a little something for a bit.
The rest of his team can't stay healthy ever either. That never helps.
Always hurt.
I mean, this is Lamar Jackson. Yes, people have figured him out a little bit more, but he's a 2-time, to most people or some people, should be a 3-time MVP, and that's still pretty recent.
What happens when he gets to the big game in the postseason?
Mark Andrews doesn't help when he's dropping balls in postseason games.
Sure, fine.
Big moments. Isaiah Likely, the referees. I mean,
I've been saying this for years. When he gets in those big games in the postseason, in my mind, we should go back and look one of these days. I mean, people that listen to Wisconsin don't care about Lamar Jackson, but I'm just saying, like, if you go back and look, I bet you his passer quarterback ratings in games they lose in the postseason probably is not that good.
But it also feels like you can look at a lot of those games and say the rest of the Ravens or some other part of the Ravens also failed miserably too. Like, it's not just him in those situations. He's still that good of a quarterback. We'll see if Malik Willis can do that. That's different. That's a whole nother level.
Malik Willis appears to be a good dude. So I hope he does fine and dandy and does his thing. I'm never going to root for the Dolphins to win anything. But yeah, hopefully this works out. And like we've talked about before, Matt LaFleur wins either way. Because if he sucks, it's going to be, wow, Matt LaFleur did all of that with that. He can't get out of his own way in Miami. And if he's a superstar, it's like, man, one for Matt LaFleur. He never would have had that opportunity and never would have had this chance. As is, Malik Willis better buy that guy the best bottle of wine ever, if that's what LaFleur drinks, for getting him that gigantic deal with the Miami Dolphins. I got one last thing, Green and Gold Update, brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook here. Don't forget, tomorrow at the Annex, come hang out with us from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. John Kuhn will be there. Rami Makloff will be there from 9 to noon. Mitch Thunder Nellis will do his part of the Mason Crosby Show from there at noon. I'll be out there with Wisconsin Sports Daily, hanging out, watching the college games with y'all as well up until 5 o'clock. So come hang out with us. Steve Novak is going to be in the house as well tomorrow afternoon. You want to hang out and talk with Steve Novak, he'll be there too. So the last thing I want to do real quick, and I'm going to do this more and more, probably just warning you now as we get closer to the draft, but I did another mock draft last night, because I do one every night, and I don't always screenshot it. But last night, I got to making trades. Okay? So I got to trading.
Getting in depth.
I did not trade up. I only traded back. All right. I got Lee Hunter, the big defensive tackle from Texas, at 60. Trading Stukes, the cornerback from Arizona, at 84. Mike Washington, who we talked on here about the other day, the running back from Arkansas. He's like 6'1", whatever. Dude, his relative athletic score, 10.
That's pretty good.
It's perfect.
That's
I'm
pretty
pretty
solid.
sure 10's perfect. Most of these guys, are 9-something, 8-something, 7-something. Tavondre Sweat used to be with the Titans before he got dealt. It was like a 2 or a 3, I think. Big defensive tackle. So, but why I like Washington is he's got huge speed, super athletic, really fast for as big as he is. I want a home run hitter. He's not exactly what I pictured, but that would work if you get him at pick 89. And then at pick 120, Dalen Everett, the cornerback out of Georgia. So 2 corners, a defensive tackle, and a running back with my first 4 picks. And because I traded back, I got an extra pick. So I ended up with 4 picks through 4 rounds, and then I stopped after the 4th round. They do something like that where you get 2 corners, a D tackle, and something else. It doesn't have to be running back, and something else. I think I would be relatively happy with that, talking about it on draft day.
I think so. That's as solid as you can get with what you have right now as the Green Bay Packers. You don't have a lot. You don't have a lot of trade assets either, so you're going to have to get creative. I think that's about as creative as you can get.
Coming up next, it is Charlie's Sounds of the Day. Where will we go? It sounds like I got to listen to that big mouth Kendrick Perkins talking about the Bucks wanting to shut Giannis down. That's been the story of the afternoon in the NBA. We'll discuss that straight ahead. Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer here. Charlie using the other side of the glass, wearing another hat. I can't read from this side of the glass.
It's a Bass Pro Shop hat. My sister's fiance got it for me for Christmas.
I thought their colors were like black and green.
All these ones were based off of sports teams. So this is technically a Cubs one. And then he got all my other sister's boyfriend / fiance's Packers ones.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
snazzy.
I didn't know they did that.
I didn't either until he got it for me.
Good for Bass Pro Shop. I had no idea. Okay. Before we move on to our Charlie's sounds of the day, Charlie and I were having this conversation off the air because I am going to this dinner tonight at Moe's Steakhouse, which is in downtown Milwaukee. And it's a steakhouse and all of that. And we were having this conversation of like, are you a person that's into like really fancy food or whatever else? Because I was telling him, like, watch a Food Network. And I'm like, yeah, no, I would never have that. No, never have that either. Yeah, I don't even know what that is. There's no way I'm eating that. And there are so many people that are so adventurous. Like, oh, Moe's Steakhouse tonight. He likes the chicken or whatever. I was like, I'm a steak filet mignon guy, so I'm guessing probably filet mignon, or I'll try Charlie's chicken. He's never really steered me all that wrong on most of the things he suggested to me. He's been right on.
I just like eating food.
I feel like we're but even you said that certain things you're like, yeah, no,
yeah, I'm not a big seafood guy, but there's some things I'll try. Like, I'll try anything.
So if you look at a menu and you're like, I don't know what that is, I don't know what that is, and I don't know what that is, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
I do that at like Chinese restaurants all the time because they have massive menus all the time. So sometimes I'll just pick a random thing on there and say, I'll try that this time.
Really? Yeah, I'm not that person. No. So it'll probably be steak for me tonight. And again, all the food is good, obviously, over at Moe's. I'm not saying that that's not the situation. But again, it's way, way fancier than I'm normal to doing on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis in my life. Having said that, let's go here. All right, Mr. Charlie, where are we going?
Since you were so excited to hear from him, let's just hear from him
still on
first.
TV. I don't think he's been off TV for the last hour.
What do you mean? He's the foremost expert on this whole situation.
Seriously, Kendrick Perkins has been on TV, I swear to God, for the last hour on the ESPN thing I have.
Well, he's also going to be on our airwaves for a little bit of time here as he discusses the latest Giannis news.
I really would encourage Giannis to go watch Kevin Garnett's speech when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Right? And Kevin Garnett said, my biggest regret was not getting out of Minnesota and getting to Boston sooner.
I'm shocked.
Why do I bring that up? You know what was the breaking point for Kevin Garnett and the Minnesota Timberwolves? When they asked Kevin Garnett to do the exact same thing. Do I feel bad for Giannis Antetokounmpo? Hell no. You made this bed. Lay in it. You knew what was coming up. You knew that this team was on the verge of quote-unquote tanking. You know that they were tanking and it wasn't going anywhere. You didn't put your foot down and demand what you wanted to demand and stand on business and say you wanted out of there at the trade deadline. You wasn't loud about it. You wanted to be the nice guy. Being a nice guy in 2026, that don't cut the mustard.
Okay. So this is exactly what I said earlier when this news broke. And Shrania is out there reporting that the Bucks are asking him to shut it down, and Giannis doesn't want to shut it down. Right. The thing that annoys me to a certain degree, it really, really, really annoys me, is a player not being able to see anything outside of their own self, just not getting it, not understanding it. And there are a lot of people like that, like could care less about everything else going on around them at their job or whatever else, and cannot understand or see the big picture of where they're trying to go with them and with everybody around them and how this vision plays out and all that stuff. It's just me. Giannis, for the most part, has never been a me guy. And I understand that you want to be the guy and you want to go out there and help and everything else. But two things are true. One, if you do plan on asking for a trade, why put yourself at risk of injury and screwing that all up? That's my first point. My second point is, if you truly are serious about not wanting to leave and they're going to have to move you, if that's true and you ain't lying, because there are some people that don't believe you, but if that's true, then man, the best way to help get you more talent is in this draft lottery. And if you would have put this nonsense aside and seen that, you wouldn't have been screaming and yelling about this the whole time. Like, I got to play. And just been on board with, yes, get me another star player to play with me and help me. Then we'll get one more player this offseason. If Jang develops, we got 4 studs and let's roll. That's how the mindset should be working. But that's not how he thinks. That's not how KG thinks. That's not how a lot of these superstar elite athletes think. And because of that, because it's about my career numbers, how my numbers look at the end of the season, how many games I played at the end of the season, I got to have all that in line. I don't care one way or the other about the rest of the stuff. I shake my head at the whole thing because, again, man talks one way about, oh, I'm all about the Bucks. I'm all about the city, love the guys, da-da-da-da-da. You know, they're going to have to push me out. I'm never going to ask for a trade. That's what he has said multiple times. Meanwhile, somebody, whoever it is, has continued to feed Sharania for multiple years that he wants out. And as Kendrick Perkins says, and I will agree with, if he wants out, then stand on it, say it, and be a man and own up to it, and let's roll. Fine. If that's not the case, then shut your agents up, find different agents, and sign your Supermax in October, and shut everybody up, and let's move forward. And for the betterment of this organization, do what's best for the organization. Please pick a lane and stay in it after this year. That's all I'm asking. Go ahead.
Next up, we're going to hear from Max Crosby, current Las Vegas Raiders defensive end. He was supposed to be a Baltimore Raven until that deal went haywire with the news that the Ravens are signing Trey Hendrickson instead, and Max Crosby didn't pass his physical. This is Max Crosby discussing his time meeting Eric DeCosta and the head coach for that team, Jesse Minter, and what it was like going through that meeting.
I didn't see him one time. I even asked the girl. I was like, "Where's Eric at?" Like, I want to say, like, you know what I mean? Like, he just made the trade. Like, I didn't see him for 5 hours. So I go and do my thing. At the end, they're like, "Yeah, I'll take you up." Joe was like, "I'll take you up and you go see the head coach, whatever, just before you leave." I was like, "Hell yeah!" I was like, "That's what I want to say what's up to him." So I went back up and I dap him up, and you could just tell like the energy was a little bit off. And the GM was standing in like the hall, like in the room next to me to the right. And that was the first time I seen him. And, I'm just in my head, like, this is a whirlwind. Like, I'm so excited, like fired up. You know what I mean? Like, this is a new opportunity, whatever. And you could just tell the energy was off. Like, I dapped him up. He had like a blank face. And I'm like, okay, I'm not thinking anything of it. Maybe he's just different. I don't know. I don't know him, whatever. Yeah. I go into the room. They sit me down on the couch. And he's like, "Man, I don't know how to say this, but, one of our doctors has concerns with the results and whatever. And like with your knee, like some of them have, are concerned about the future and da-da-da-da-da. And, we really want you and this is what it is, but, we're just going to have to get more and more opinions."
They did that horribly. They screwed the whole thing up. We knew they screwed the whole thing up. Eric DeCosta, the GM, tried to spin this and act like he really, really wanted him all of this. Nah. I don't believe you. You were avoiding him because you were trying to get that Hendrickson deal done. And once you got that Hendrickson deal done, then you decided that, you know what? I can get all my draft picks back, not have to give all that up, and still get a stud pass rusher at the end of the day. And the crazy thing is they were telling Hendrickson that, hey, man, it's going to be you too. Here we go. You know what? I'd like to hear from the doctors that told the Baltimore Ravens that his knee was screwed up. He's not going to be the same guy. Get rid of him. Because all I keep hearing from Adam Schefter and everybody else was nobody thinks that he won't play this year. Nobody thinks that he won't be on the football field tearing it up like he was. But what they see right now is a little concerning, so they failed him. So let me get this straight. The Baltimore Ravens believe that he'll be on the football field and play. If you listen to Max Crosby, he says, "I'll be ready for training camp," according to his doctor, who, by the way, is like one of the top in the country. Says it's good. They chose an out by looking at it in 9 weeks and say, well, it's not fully healed. Well, no kidding. Really? And they used that as their out to fail him when they knew damn right well what it was going to look like at 9 weeks when they traded for him. It's just, everybody can have their own opinion. It's scummy to me. You go and get the Cowboys doctor and get everybody else involved in this. That's fine. But that smells to high heaven. Smells to high heaven for me, Mr. Charlie.
100%. And I think, again, the Ravens keep trying to defend themselves, pretend like this is something that they should be able to do. It feels very much like when we were talking about all these NCAA teams bringing in former pro players that had been at the NBA level into their locker room and say, well, it's not against the rules. We can do this. I mean, this is just what the NCAA is allowing. We're just taking advantage. You can't blame us, but yeah, we can blame you because you're the ones that are taking advantage when there's 18 other teams that wouldn't do this or wouldn't go about this because it's just morally feels wrong. You're playing with a guy's career in your hands. That's really weird. And then not only do you play with his career, but then you say, oh, there's some injury concerns here and create false narratives that he's trying to push the opposite way, that he's going to show and prove that it's not the case. And you're going to go out there and, again, continue to push that just because you wanted a different guy. That does not seem fair at all.
Correct. That's exactly right. All right, what's your third one?
And last up here, we're going to hear from Max Scherzer, Blue Jays pitcher, on foul territory. We heard John Smoltz yesterday talk about a way to fix the WBC by changing when it's played. Max Scherzer has a similar idea, but kind of combines it with your idea, Sparky.
Every player wants to do it. Thank you for saying that. Wants to do this. Everybody wants to be out there competing for their country. They're like full stop. Like there's just no argument about that. Everybody wants to. It's just you have a risk factor to this, and it's which this is hard on your arms. What I just said, you're walking into playoff baseball, max intensity without being properly built up, and so that's a huge risk factor to try to take on. I get why I've been there. I get why you don't do it. I get why people do want to do it. It really takes a narrow band to really be able to be early, to be able to ramp up early, to be able to take on that type of stress early. So. That's why I wish this tournament was just pushed back 2 weeks. If it started now, all right, now I'm built up to 75, 80 pitches. Okay, that's a much easier, you're closer to being to midseason form. So that way we protect the pitchers if you had the proper ramp up time.
Okay. So we're back to middle of the season again, right? That's essentially what we're talking about. Because if they're going to continue to put it where they are, this is going to continue to be an argument. If you put it in the middle of the season, these pitchers are already stretched out, plenty of ramp-up time, all of that. Like the caller that brought up earlier, the idea of replacing the All-Star game and having a 2-week break in the middle of the season to go play the World Baseball Classic for who's involved. Now you shouldn't have managers interfering or anything like at that point. And now it's all fixed versus having this conversation, every 4 years, 3-4 years about this same type of deal, trying not to get guys hurt before the start of the season.
Well, and what Max Scherzer is suggesting here is actually taking away 2 weeks of the MLB season at the beginning of the year and pushing the World Baseball Classic 2 weeks later so that they could have the spring training start at the same time and then ramp up a little bit more into the World Baseball Classic.
I don't think they'll do that. No.
That's what the players would want.
If you're telling me we're getting rid of the first 2 weeks and we're not replacing those games, 2 weeks less of regular season games, then I'm in. But if you're saying, yeah, we're taking rid of 2 weeks and we're going to tack those on to the end of the season, and now the regular season ends in the middle to end of October and the playoffs started at Halloween and beginning of November, no chance. I'm fully out. No way.
He said he would just take off the 2 weeks. That's what he said. He said 153 games about is what he would say the season should be.
Correct. Yeah. And we'll see how many of the players that aren't playing the World Baseball Classic are comfortable giving up 9 paychecks. Like, I don't see the MLBPA agreeing to that. I think fans be like, okay, sure, if that's what you want to do. But the other problem here is if you do it in the middle of the season, okay, now you can have World Baseball Classic games at Wrigley. I can have World Baseball Classic games in St. Louis. I can have them in Midwest cities without a dome on them because I can play outside because it's warm and it's nice. Right now, the way this is set up, you can't have any World Baseball Classic games in any type of cold weather facility because you're screwed. Now, the Brewers are going to winterize their stadium. So they would now become eligible after this season. Once it's winterized, they would become eligible because they got the roof and now they've got the heat. They'd be eligible, I think, to host World Baseball Classic games. The next time it comes around, you might be able to host them in Milwaukee.
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be awesome. Sure, I'm in. But otherwise, majority of these stadiums are never going to get to host it that don't have roofs or don't have the winterization to it.
Well, but you see a lot of these stadiums starting to get to that point and wanting to do that, especially in the Midwest. You're seeing these stadiums start to change. We talked about it with the Packers. You have to move with the times, and all these stadiums are starting to become domes. They're starting to become these better places for more than just the sport.
Correct. He is Charlie Usen, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Coming up, things that we missed on today's show brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals, including the president of the Milwaukee Admirals, John Greenberg. Straight ahead, it's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome in, Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen, doing his thing. Other side of the glass. Don't forget, tomorrow, head on down. The Potawatomi Casino Hotel will be there from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. John Kuhn, live and in living color right there, along with Rami Makloff from 9 till noon. Then, starting at noon, the Mason Crosby Show. Mitch Thunder Nellis will be at the Annex doing his part of the show from there. And then it's Wisconsin Sports Daily. I'll be down there until 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon as well. So come on, hang out with us. If you're like, the Annex, where's the Annex? It's that big open room right to the left of where you walk into the Potawatomi Sportsbook. They're going to have a bar set up in there. They have gambling kiosks all along the back wall. They have couches in there. They've got tables with chairs and all of that. Now, you cannot reserve anything inside the Annex ahead of time. That is first come, first serve, okay? They are sold out as far as seating goes in the sportsbook for tomorrow and Friday. Saturday and Sunday, they have limited seating. So if you want to reserve something in the sportsbook for Saturday or Sunday, go online, reserve it now. There's a nominal fee that goes towards your food and beverage to reserve a seat or a table or whatever the case may be. Go to Potawatomi.com and do that today. Again, reserve your seat today for Saturday or Sunday. Limited seating left, again, for to watch hoops on Saturday and or Sunday. Your call. Time to bring on the president of the Milwaukee Admirals, John Greenberg. John, how are we doing today?
Wonderful. How you doing, Sparky?
Sneezing my head off.
Yes, God bless you, sir.
Yeah, I think I pulled something in my leg while I was doing it. Thankfully, my back's okay. I want to talk about what happened here in the last week since we last talked, and that is you had a game canceled in Michigan because of an ice issue. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, we were in Grand Rapids for a 2-game set there Friday, Saturday, and on Friday, their building had been in use for a couple other events. They have a G League team there. They also do a lot of concerts in that building. And at some point during the course of the week, all of downtown Grand Rapids lost power, which drove the ice system into turnoff, actually, and then the backup system didn't get turned on. So when they took the decking off from to have the basketball court, the concert on, they found that there was quite a bit of degradation of ice there, and so they spent that whole day Friday trying to get it rebuilt. Guys went out and took the pregame warm-up skate right before the game, and both teams determined that ice was not playable. It was very dangerous. So that game had to be canceled, which was or postponed rather, and will be played next Tuesday, the 24th. We'll go back there and get that game in. We were able to play the next night. Ice wasn't great, but it was deemed to be good enough, and we were able to win that game. So, that was okay with us that we stuck around. I think we might have been a little salty had we all lost the second game.
Well, and it wasn't a complete waste of a trip because you'd hate to make that trip all the way there, not play, and then have to come all the way back. So at least you got in a second game after that. And like you said, you get the win. Coming up this Saturday, Admirals back at home again against those very same Grand Rapids Griffins. And the Brewers, as we all know, have their opening day coming up next Thursday. And you got a little Brewers fun giveaway coming up Saturday.
We do. So the Brewers, great partners of ours. The first 4,000 fans through the door on Saturday night will get a coupon good for 2 free Loge level tickets to a Monday through Thursday game through June the 4th. So I believe there are about 18 games for people to pick from out at American Family Field, and you can use that certificate and get 2 tickets.
That's a beautiful thing. The Admirals play today as well, if I'm looking at this correctly, and that means Wendy's is involved because of a 4-0 win today.
Yeah, we scored a goal with just a few seconds left to get that 4th one, which was great. Team played very well, shutout victory up in Manitoba against the Moose, a school day game there, and that's a big game for us. We've now won 3 in a row and picking up some ground on the two teams in front of us in third and fourth place. So it's nice to see the guys playing well.
That's always a good thing. Also coming up on Saturday night is Scout Night. We talked about that, Cub Scout and Girl Scout Night. Also, Harley-Davidson Museum breakaway ticket package available.
Yeah, you can get a ticket to our game and a ticket to the Harley-Davidson Museum, which is an awesome place to visit if you've never been there. So $25, I believe, is the price for that, if I'm remembering correctly. But a ticket to the game and a ticket to the museum just for that one low price. It's a special ticket deal. So you go online and buy the Harley-Davidson breakaway package, and we'll have both those tickets ready for you.
Okay, we talked enough about the Admirals. Now I want to pick your brain about what it was like back in the day for the Brewers. So people may or may know, but John Greenberg ran media relations for the Brewers for quite a long time, back in the county stadium days and everything else. How crazy, how hectic is it right now when you are sitting about a week out from not only the opener, but it being the home opener on top of that, like the Brewers are going through right now, finishing up spring training, getting back here, and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, you're anxious to get started for sure. I always used to tell people that spring training went in 3 phases for me. There was you get there back in February, you're all excited to see the guys again, get started. That goes up for about a week. Then it's like, okay, let's start playing some games. And then, okay, let's play some games. This is great. And about 2 weeks into games, you're like, okay, this can be over now. So let's play games that actually count. So you're excited to get home. There's a lot of work that's you're getting done right now for credentialing and getting everybody ready for the season. A blizzard 10 days out is always a lot of fun, but hopefully it's going to warm up enough, get all that snow out of the parking lots and get the place ready for baseball. And we can't wait to get out there and see it again.
The crazy part about this is because you were a county stadium, you had to worry about weather and what the weather forecast. Now, the Brewers, I'm sure, are concerned about the weather just from a tailgating perspective and all of that stuff, but they know they're going to play. Where you guys, that was always a hit or miss thing. I remember going to games in April where it was snowing out, watching a game being played.
Yeah, brutal. It was brutal. It seems like a million years ago, but it really isn't, that we had to live through April and early May baseball. And, it was us and our closest friends in the stands watching those games.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's so much better having, the roof and a certain amount of heat getting pumped in there. And it's a great atmosphere. And it's just a blessing to have this ballpark in our community, to know that if you buy a ticket, wherever you're coming from, you're going to see the game.
They said on opening day they're going to do a Euchre documentary preview, 20-minute chunk after the game. People can stick around and watch it, and then eventually they'll have an announcement that it's going to be in theaters. I mean, this obviously makes sense where you would show the Euchre documentary at some point at Milwaukee Panther Arena after an Admirals game, right?
I would love to. Absolutely. If we had that opportunity, we would love to be able to share that with our audience. I haven't heard any discussions of that yet, but if that,
I'll negotiate it for you.
Yeah,
I'll take care of it for you. Yeah,
there you go. I appreciate it.
I'll help you out, John. I got you. I'll take care of it. John Greenberg, again, MilwaukeeAdmirals.com, coming up Saturday night, Brewers ticket giveaway night, Harley-Davidson Museum breakaway ticket package, and a whole bunch of Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts all over the building for that game against Grand Rapids. And again, 6 o'clock puck drop Saturday night. Thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Sparky.
There he is, John Greenberg of the Milwaukee Admirals, the president of the Milwaukee Admirals. Rick Schlesinger, president of business operations for the Brewers. He's going to join us coming up on Monday at 4:20 in the afternoon, coming up on Monday, just ahead of that opener on Thursday. And if you missed this earlier, we still do not have information to share with you as far as what channel the games are going to be on. We know the first game will be on over-the-air TV in all the different markets around the state of Wisconsin. Locally in Milwaukee, it's on Fox 6. Wausau, they will have games on there. Duluth Superior, Green Bay, all these different markets will have the games on for that. So really, they don't got to really figure out what channel Brewers TV is going to be on, really, probably until close of business next Friday, because the game's on Saturday. And then they're going to have to know. So they'll figure it out. And then we'll know what channel it's on, DirecTV or Comcast or Spectrum or whatever you may have in your market. And then we can watch some Brewers baseball the rest of the season. Coming up next, Wisconsin sports wrap up with a big old hunk of love. Tommy Wirtz taking you home coming up next here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from those Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks for listening here on a Wednesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night, Wisconsin. Toodles.